Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new episode of Friday Night WrestleCast. I am your host, Richard Bailey Jr., and today I'm joined by Mr. Adam Vale. How's it going, Mr. Vale?
It's going, people. We got a lot of wrestling to talk about. A lot of wrestling.
Absolutely. We're also joined by Mr. Ricardo Negron. How's it going, Ricky?
Going good. You don't know the hype until you've been to WrestleMania weekend. You do not know the hype. I'm sorry if I sound like Mojo Rawley. Just how I'm feeling right now. I'm as excited as can be.
Absolutely, he's pumped. And of course, we are joined by Miss Dana Abercrombie. How's it going, Dana?
What's up, yo? WrestleMania, 20 hours. Starts today.
Mania.
20 hours.
A 20 hours.
If you think about it, let's say if you think about all the events that are taking place that weekend, it probably would add up to that. You know, because there's almost every promotion around the country and even some from Japan are going to be in New Orleans during that time. So it's going to be nuts. And there's going to be a lot of wrestling events, live wrestling events. So, yeah, if you add all that, yeah, it could be.
Absolutely. No, you're right. So let me start off by saying, first and foremost, I want to give a special shout out to Dana, Adam, and Riku, because you guys did an excellent job with the hosting duties last week. You know, for those who are not aware, you know, I was coming back from GDC, so it was going to be very difficult to get back here in time to be on the show. But yeah, you did an excellent job. So
yeah, yes, Rico's on one, and it's a big deal for people that don't know. Like, he's part of the Throwdown, and he was on there, and he was talking all this stuff about, always goofing on me about lucha wrestling, lucha underground, and just wrestling in general, because he hasn't watched it in years. And I told him, if there's anything to watch, when you do decide to just pick it up and just watch something, watch Lucha Underground. So he next, he hit me up. He's like, yo, I watched it. I want to talk about it. I like this. And then poof, we got him on, and he said he's a fan, and he was going to watch more episodes. So. See?
That's good. That's good. Well, hopefully he will watch tonight, because we will have some interesting conversations tonight for sure. Yeah. So obviously there was a lot of developments this week, as this is the week before WrestleMania. WrestleMania is next weekend, so I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that's also going to happen next week, but still a lot went down this week that we have to discuss. But before we get into any of that, we're going to start the show off by giving the mic over to Dana, and you can let us know about some of the news stories that took place this week.
Today, officially, Mickie James has dropped her very odd country hip hop mashup. It's called Left, Right, Left. It features the Yin Yang Twins, who are famous for a song and Get Low. Yeah, she's very excited. It's she claims it's a hit single, and it's odd, to say the least. It's with you can find it on iTunes, Amazon, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, anything. It's if I can play a little piece so you can hear. Time for your drama, no more calling me your little mama.
That's enough. So, okay, that didn't make me happy, but okay. Oh, that was weird.
Good for her. That was painful.
But she had a full album at some point, right? I remember she did an album.
Yeah, no, she's like country, her whole album, and she's been out for a while doing music, if you can call it that. But yes, good for her, Grandma Mickie.
Someone get her a bar of Snickers. She's not herself when she's hungry.
There you go.
Turning into a rapper now.
Oh dear. Yeah. Today marks the 10th year anniversary since Shawn Michaels whispered "I love you" before hitting the sweet chin music and pinning Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24. Ric Flair took to Twitter to comment on the 10-year anniversary of the match, saying that today is the 10-year anniversary of my retirement match with Shawn Michaels. Thank you, Shawn, and the WWE for making my WrestleMania moment so special. That was very sweet. According to many sources, the reason why Rusev went from the Andre Giant Battle Royal to now being in the Fatal 4-Way, along with Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, and Jinder Mahal, is because of all of his merchandise sales. So the more he's selling, the more WWE is allowing him to shine and be elevated. So good for him.
It's all about money. We learned that with Enzo. Remember, he wasn't that great in the ring, but he was selling merch. So
that is true. That is very true. Shane McMahon, as you guys already know, has announced that he's been hospitalized for a massive infection that he had during the vacation in the Caribbean. He will need surgery. The surgery has been first postponed to after WrestleMania. So don't worry, we're going to get more of Shane wrestling in WrestleMania. They did say that he's going to cut down a little bit on his ring work since he also has diverticulitis, the same thing that Brock has.
And it was bad, but Brock had to get like emergency surgery. They couldn't wait. So I don't think this is that bad if they're willing to hold off until Mania, after Mania.
Yeah. He's able to hold off, and he's also has an umbilical hernia. So,
do we really need him that bad for WrestleMania? I don't think so.
We don't. We really don't. Now, I'm kind of excited because I thought this meant that he was not going to be at WrestleMania, but he's going to be there. So, yay. But they did say that his ring work is going to be limited. So, take that as you will. Maybe we'll get more Danny Bryan instead. So 205 Live is getting new tag team championships very soon. The WWE has filed court documents so they can get to prevent any type of bootleggers during the whole WrestleMania thing from selling the merchandise. So they filed their paperwork. And if you had a chance, look at them online. They are ugly as all can be. Very, very ugly. And I'm pretty sure even bootleggers don't want anything to do with them. Today is also the 3-year anniversary of the greatest RKO at WrestleMania 31. Remember when
was that the throw when the guy went for the stomp? Seth Rollins?
With Seth Rollins, and he went for the stomp and he climbed on his back and RKO'd him in the middle of the whole in air, basically. As you know, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were fired, quote unquote fired. And Kevin Owens changed his Twitter handle back to his birth name, Kevin Stein, and then he did the whole fight instead of the whole fight Owens fight. He's been really playing it up that he's no longer with the WWE. They're all pretending they're all fake. However, El Generico had made his gimmick, his Sami Zayn's gimmick has come back to social media, and there's a reason why. Basically, by keeping them off, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens off of TV, they're losing money. And Sami Zayn's merchandise is not selling as well. And, he has a family and life and bills that he has to pay. So WWE is allowing him to sell his El Generico merchandise on Pro Wrestling Tees. And he's able to make appearances as that character. So he's able to feed his family and not starve until they decide to bring him back on air.
What? So, no, but they're still collecting a check. That's royalties. It still takes time for them to get that money.
Right, so. But they're still allowing him to do it. So
see, this can't be Vince's doing, because Vince, no, he would say no to all of this. This is something else. Triple H or somebody else is making these weird deals. I mean, that's great. That's great for them. But think about what you're saying here. You're saying that these people can then just revert back to an older gimmick that is not owned or controlled by WWE. What if it's a horrible damn gimmick? And it's like, well, you can do it. I'm trying to think of somebody who left and we're like, man, I remember the original gimmick. Who was it? Who?
Hurricane.
That wasn't. I'm trying to think of somebody big. Oh. Somebody big recently. Keep going. I'll come up with one.
Okay. Congratulations to the Miz and Maurice on the birth of their daughter, Monroe Sky, who arrived early on March 27th at 11:40 p.m. Hulk Hogan appeared at the HBO documentary Andre the Giant. They had a big, press screening, and they had a big event, and it was all nice and fancy. However, Hulk Hogan and the WWE is saying that he's retired. He's not being rehired. He's not coming back during WrestleMania. Please stop asking questions about that. He was just there to support the movie because he's in the documentary. If you've ever seen any of the trailers, and he had a very huge part in the whole Andre the Giant storyline and his whole career. So, you know, he's not coming back is what he keeps saying, and he's very upset people keep bringing it up. Maybe one day, he says, but definitely not going to be today. Now, during WrestleMania week, we all know that, WWE comes in and, we have all these other different promotions. And we also have a lot of indie wrestlers coming in as well. And they have a lot of independent shows that's going around. Well, it seems that there are certain moves that are banned by the state commissioner of Louisiana, whoever handles the whole licensing things over there. They've banned certain moves, but of course does not apply to any of the huger companies like WWE or TNA, whatever they're going by now. So this is all the moves that are banned from
Ring of Honor as well is also exempt from it.
Yeah, Ring of Honor. So we have all variations of the pile driver, all variations of the power bomb, the moonsault, the shooting star, the 450 splash, or any variation therefore which involves one wrestler leaping or flipping off the ropes or turnbuckles to contact the head or neck of the opponent with any part of his body. The stun gun of any rare variation, therefore, which results in one's fighter's head or neck being dragged, draped, or clotheslined across the ropes. Striking of a wrestler's head with any object, chair, trash can, lid, etc. No wrestler shall throw, push, shove, or force another out of the ring or over the top rope. So, yeah, good luck.
No, they're not enforcing that. What, they're going to send somebody from their office to represent them at every event? No, it's not happening.
No.
That's not happening. Nope.
That's the independent show.
It's all wrestling. I mean, how do you? That's every match. Then you can't throw somebody in and out of the ring. I mean, what is it? WCW back in the day? Remember, you couldn't go over the top. No, it's not gonna happen.
You just know that one of these indie shows is going to have a match where every single banned move is going to be done just to piss off New Orleans and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it says.
What's the penalty? What's the penalty? That's the bottom line.
I think there's like fines. They're fined for every violation, all that. And actually, I saw that. I want to say Will Ospreay is actually ready for that, and so he actually has a shirt that is going to be sold that weekend or something like that, where he mocks it, like they're gonna find me or whatever. Like fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway. I forget what the shirt design was called, but yeah, I saw it earlier today. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, so it's a mess. But most, as you said before, they probably just won't even, because you're banned from this. Basically, it's all wrestling. What are you gonna do? Like some wars or something? So yeah. So I'm pretty sure.
The thing is, they didn't say why they're doing all this. Like, I mean, did something happen the last go around that WrestleMania was there and this whole big shindig happened? Did a bunch of people come in with neck injuries? Wrestlers come in and they say, "Hey, this is what happened. I broke my neck during."
A wrestler died from a pile driver that was done incorrectly, and another one was paralyzed.
But that was there in New Orleans?
I believe so.
Because
that's why the moves are.
But I mean, that could happen. The fact that they even have exemption for WWE and Ring of Honor, that makes no sense, because that could happen there also. That could happen anywhere. That is true,
but it can, but they said that it's a major league promotion. So any major league promotion is exempt. Okay. And that there will be the commissioner official on site will be at the shows. And at his sole discretion will allow wrestlers to perform prohibited moves, holds, or maneuvers listed above, as long as permission is sought and obtained prior to the event by both wrestlers and the requesting wrestlers that have significant training, athletic ability, and experience to perform the maneuver without endangering one another.
Please. That's not happening. It's not happening.
Yeah. So,
some of those shows are doing first blood matches. Come on now. That's not happening. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. That's gonna cause big problems. Fans would
Oh, yeah.
go nuts because I mean, what are you gonna do? So then you see somebody do a move off the top rope. Somebody's gonna jump the barricade and be like, "All right, you gotta stop the fight, you know, and people are gonna attack him. No, it's not happening. Not happening.
Yeah.
Call shenanigans.
Yeah, no, it's shenanigans. I guess everyone is just trying to cover their back if somebody, gets injured and, that you can't sue. I don't know.
So I hope I'm not stealing any thunder. I don't know if you were going to mention this, but I heard a rumor that there was also going to be a 10% sales tax on wrestling merchandise over that weekend as well. I don't know if you heard anything about that.
No.
Gee.
Wouldn't surprise me. Everyone's trying. I mean, New Orleans paid a lot of money to get Mania, but I mean, look at all the other work that's coming. Look at all the other promotions. Look, that's restaurants that are going to get filled. That's hotels that are going to get filled. Cabbies and Uber services going to go through the roof trying to get these people from a venue to venue. So I don't understand it, but you know what? It's all about money, so they're going to try to milk it for whatever they can.
Yeah. It sucks, but New Orleans, and they kind of need the money. So it'll help the economy for that area. So, it sucks, but good for them, I guess. Also, in Sports Illustrated has said that there's been a rumor that Rey Mysterio was going to be Braun's partner during, the whole challenge him for the bar for the Raw Tag Team titles at WrestleMania. However, Rey Mysterio has said that is not even going to be possible since he suffered a recent bicep injury that he suffered at an independent show, and it will keep him out of wrestling even if he was to appear at WrestleMania. So he's not even going to wrestle. He had is a torn bicep.
It really is torn because they said that he was going to Birmingham to go do that test to see their doctor. So it really is.
He said it was
officially torn. I don't believe any of this stuff. I feel like we're getting worked. That's it.
I surgery. It's a full tear, so I'm gonna just kick back and do some therapy for it, and hopefully it'll be ready. Whenever it decides to heal.
I like to make a quick comment on that. I think that's a horrible idea. The whole thing. Obviously, I know they want to have some type of surprise for WrestleMania, but I always keep going back to in my head. Well, if Braun needs a partner, why isn't it Elias? You have already established that these guys, they had their little feud. They don't get along, and WWE likes putting together wrestlers that don't get along. So I don't know why Elias wouldn't be the obvious choice in this situation.
So now you see, I'm the only one who thinks that Braun should have the tag titles by himself.
Oh, that's not right. Oh, no. That ruins the whole thing. Think about it. That ruins the whole idea. You just break everything when you do that. You can't do that. You can't. Next, you're gonna say you're gonna have a male wrestler as a female wrestling champ. You can't do it. You can't do it. You gotta stick with some rules. Can't just let everybody willy nilly. I'm a big dude. I'm bigger than two guys at once, so I'm gonna be the champ by myself. No, there's already a belt for you. It's called Intercontinental. You stand by yourself over here. You don't jump into this world. No.
See, the only reason why I say it wouldn't be good for him to have both belts is because WWE does not want to make him look weak, and he would have to lose at some point in time. So if they give him a tag partner, have the tag partner lose. So therefore, Braun still looks strong by not getting pinned.
It'll also undermine every tag team. You know, it's like he's going to be kicking everyone's ass. Come on now. That's not right. He's going to kick everybody's ass, but yeah, he can't even withstand the power of one F5. Come on.
That's WWE booking for you.
You know what I mean? So, no, that's not happening. No, give him a partner, give him Elias, give him Rey Mysterio, give El Generico. I don't care. He needs a partner. Tag team division, tag, clack. You got to go and tag somebody in the corner. So, that's just how it works. Can't break the rules.
Yeah.
See, y'all are no fun.
No fun.
Look at the big show and we won't like it.
Nope. See,
You know, you remind me of those people that are like, man, it'd be great if there was this one wrestler, right, who would just come in and kick ass real quick, and he was just undefeated for a long time. Wouldn't that be cool? And then when Goldberg came along, it's like, yo, this is boring. He comes in, does the same moves, it's real quick, these matches. He makes all my favorite wrestlers look weak. Like, hey, this is what you wanted, though. You wanted this, like, amazing force that just kicks ass and within record times. And then now you got it. Now you're all bitter because he beat your favorite wrestler. You know, you're hyped for a match, and that match ends in like a minute. Like, what the hell? How'd this happen? It's like Tyson, you know? Remember Tyson was kicking ass? Everybody loved it until they got bored of it. Like, who's just going to beat this guy? Why am I paying $50? It's not even going to last to the third round. You know, so, I mean, you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah.
I'll complain to complain.
That's what they do.
Well, the original plan for Bayley versus Banks had Bayley actually being the one turned heel. WWE had been planning for Bayley to turn heel, but the plans were changed at the last second, probably thanks to Vince McMahon. Bayley was scheduled to turn heel. The MSG card had her teaming with Elias versus Cena and Nikki right until the decision was made to hold up the turn. It wasn't a red herring, it was a plan. This is all what David Meltzer saying. It was a plan written for a turn by the date that they changed. It appeared Banks did the turn, however. Plans change weekly. Banks' heel turn was scheduled well before 2017 Mania at first. So that's very depressing news because I can't stand Bayley as a face.
Bayley needs a whole rework, though. That's the thing. And I think that's what they're deciding is like, you can turn a heel. It's not going to help. She's still Bayley. She needs just a whole new gimmick.
Then she needs to be it's either heel or no.
They got to do it like remember back in the day when it's time for a gimmick change, you just got your ass beat and you were gone for a long period of time. I mean, that's what they're doing with Bray Wyatt, right? He got thrown in the lake of reincarnation. So when he comes back, he's going to have a new gimmick. So they need to pull the same thing. Throw her ass in the lake. Like, throw everybody in the lake. That should be the whole thing. It's like, oh, they're going down to the lake. You know what that means. You know, everybody go down to the lake.
Yeah. I wish it would happen. I'm so sick and tired of her being a face. Road Dogg will induct Jeff Jarrett into the WWE Hall of Fame. So, yay for anyone who cares about those two.
You mean you're not the one inducting him?
Right?
You know,
super fan over here. I saw your MySpace page. That's right. Bringing it back. You got pictures of him all over with little kissy faces, little animations that keep popping up around the picture.
Very funny. Now, WWE Creative is inducting Jeff Jarrett. So, boo-hoo. The Greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, which is occurring on April 27th, will now have the matches of The Miz versus Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe for the IC title in a ladder match. Also, The Bar versus the Hardys.
Oh, did you hear what Roman said about this on some interview? He says that he thinks it's going to be on the network.
It's not. See, I don't think they know what they're doing.
Probably not. They asked him about it. They're like, oh, this is sound like an amazing card. You know, it's a shame the rest of the world's not going to see it. And he was like, well, from what I know, it's going to be on the network.
It's going to be on the network. It has to be. It's freaking
like a year later. Hopefully it is live or somewhat live. That'd be cool.
And I still remember that Bash of the Beach rumor from a couple of years ago that I guess it was going to be in Hawaii and it was going to be an amazing card. And then it just never happened. It was just a house show in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. They were really hyping that.
That's kind of cool. That's really cool. WWE is also rumored to be introducing the women's tag team titles in time for SummerSlam. I don't think they have enough women on the roster for that, but okay. People are asking about Mark Henry, whether or not he's going to make a comeback. You know, WrestleMania is around the corner, so they're asking anybody who's retired, are they going to make a comeback? He's saying that I am trying my best to stay out of the ring. These young dudes ain't no joke. I remember being one once upon a time. You battle up and get ready for war every day. I'm not trying to go to war no more. He did say that he is open for 1 or 2 matches, maybe within the next 5 years, but nothing anytime soon. So anyone who's looking for him, he said no.
Well, hold on a second. There's one more stipulation that I heard from Mark Henry directly. He will not compete in any more matches until Hulk Hogan apologizes for how he treated black people.
Oh boy.
Black of wrestlers. Did you hear about that one? He was part of.
Oh no, I didn't hear about that.
There's a council of African American wrestlers, and they have deemed it, inappropriate for Hogan to make any return, and they're protesting, and speaking to Vince about it. And that's why they're saying that Hulk Hogan won't be there because of this whole council. So that's
I didn't know about that. That's interesting.
Wrestlers.
I don't know, but it's just sort of like when you're talking about him coming back, and then when you said with Braun, there's two people that everyone seems to have forgotten about that could easily pop up to fill that spot and are part of the roster. From what we know, we got Drew McIntyre, right? He's got the green light, so they were going to bring him up anyway. There could be the surprise that could be his partner, or Bobby Lashley.
Oh God, no.
No, you don't like Bobby,
or Ricardo's favorite wrestler that is making a return soon, Big Cass.
Oh yeah, Big Cass.
No, see, I would prefer that instead of God.
I forgot about Big Cass. He actually, that makes a good point because Cass actually was cleared to wrestle, but that news completely was flew under the radar. I forget what happened. Was it because Daniel Bryan was cleared at the same time, or
it
was something? Nobody cares. That's what happened. Nobody cares. That's the problem. Nobody cares.
No, nobody cares. And Big Cass was actually backstage at Raw, but still nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
And Daniel Bryan overshadowed everything because if you listen back to, we'll go back to it with Raw, there was like a tiny pop for Roman, but everything died once.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of the three names you just mentioned are in that battle royal that they're having. Like that's going to be the surprise. They have to one of those Drew has to show up, or Bobby has to make an appearance, or even Big Cass. Those guys, they're good to go. They're ready. So it makes no sense. We know that Drew is going to come up. We know Bobby's definitely going up. They're not going to send him to NXT. We know Big Cass is not going to NXT. So everything is pointing to Mania popping up, as a surprise. WWE's all about big surprises. You see the rumors we're trying to get Rey Mysterio doing all that. Well, here's three guys we know could do it.
Or there could be Mordecai.
I wish. His story is so sad. You heard that story, right? Did you ever hear that interview about what happened with him? With the bar fight and getting sued and WWE releasing him because he got sued?
Yep.
Yeah, that was so sad. So sad.
13 years ago today. No, more than 13. 14 years ago.
That gimmick, man, that could have worked.
Could have worked so well. Oh, well. Oh, so sad. So WrestleMania 34, the week of WrestleMania is upon us soon. And in case you are lacking in wrestling programs, here is the final number of shows that is going to appear during the whole week. Monday Night Raw on April 2nd. We all know that one. Tuesday, April 3rd is going to be SmackDown. Wednesday, April 4th, NXT. We know that. Thursday, USA is running a special at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central on April 5th. WrestleMania's greatest moments, to give fans a look back at the legendary moments in the history of the showcase of the Immortals. So you have that. Saturday is the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which I seem to be the only one excited about. And Sunday is the big event where you get, your 20-hour WrestleMania.
Well, hold on a second. When is the NXT takeover?
Saturday.
Oh, that's Saturday. Okay.
So that's not going to be the same night as Hall of Fame, is it?
The Hall of Fame is on Friday.
Okay, yeah.
It's on Friday, yeah.
Hall of Fame's on Friday. Takeover Saturday.
On Saturday on USA.
But now the Super Card, the Super Ring of Honor show that they have is going on at the same time as the NXT one, and that one is big because that has Cody versus Kenny Omega.
Yep.
So that's gonna be it's gonna be tough because I know a lot of people that want to see that event just for that.
Yeah, just for that one. I'm bummed about that.
You just watch the ROH, and either way, you remember we have the network for $9.99.
Yeah, no, they have a network too. That's the thing. There's networks everywhere for $9.99. Oh man, network for days.
You don't have to ever miss anything.
That is true. PWG though, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, we can miss that. I don't think they're on any network. Whatever.
And there's also CZW, which is showing as well.
Yeah, CZW. There's another one. They're on YouTube. See, that's the thing with Impact, because I watched Impact last night. You know, Josh Matthews has a belt he was given. It's so weird. You know, but the whole thing is that they're one hand promoting how they're going to be at New Orleans and that they're doing that cross promotion with Lucha Underground. But then it's like their messaging is weird. So it's like, oh yeah, we're going to be on Twitch, right, doing a live stream. But then you could also watch us on the pay service, which is like the Fight Network or some fight service. And they're like, yeah, and that app is on Xbox and PC and also. So I'm like, what? So what's free? What's not free? What is it? Is it live? I thought the live stuff was going to be free, but then are you trying to promote back stuff? I just don't get it. I just don't understand their whole messaging and what they're trying to do with Twitch to push everything on Twitch like that, but then have a pay service. I don't know. I got confused because you got Austin Aries who's up there and he's going for a title, and Pentagon Jr. is going to be in a match, and Phoenix is going to be in a match. It's going to be interesting. I want to see just for the Lucha Underground stuff.
Yeah, because I think their TNA card is kind of weird. It's not. Things seem thrown together, and even the fact that Austin Aries has a title match, and he just came. I don't like that.
I think Ricky's about to say something. I was going to say real quick. Speaking of Austin Aries, he actually already has 2 titles now. So I saw that right before we started recording. So
yeah, there you go. Because
3 titles if you include his engagement to Selena Vega.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure a lot of people hope he loses that title. So. Yeah,
but that's right. I keep forgetting because TV, and if you go under the TV land, I mean, it's months behind. Bobby Lashley was in last night's match. You know what I mean? It's like they're way behind. So,
okay. I was just gonna. This is completely random. I was just gonna mention this because I'm not gonna have a chance to mention it next week. Because next week I will be away. I'll be in New Orleans, but I was just gonna show real quickly the WrestleMania collector ticket, which has like a fancy little hologram thing. And one thing I just noticed looking at it, it's got Samoa Joe up here, and it's got Dean Ambrose right here.
I'll give you $10 for that.
I think I'm good considering that it was an extra $25 compared to the regular ticket. Just
so they're not all like that. Wait, let me see it again.
So this is how it looks, and so the thing is that you can get a regular ticket. Let me see if I can pull that up.
Well, don't do that because then somebody could easily just write the number down, copy it, and then show.
Yeah, I know. No, yeah, good point. So it's just like a regular paper ticket, like whatever. And then for another $25, you get the special collector's, edition, which has a hologram. So I was like,
I forgot. I did see that once before, and that was at the Mayweather-McGregor fight.
That they had one like that? Yeah.
Yeah, they had one like that because Enzo had it, and he posted up online, and he was moving it back and forth, and you would see them standing. So I'm like, oh, that is cool. So that's cool. See, that's a cool way of getting people hyped for tickets. Now I just got to find one on StubHub. Thanks.
Yeah.
I bet they'll be on eBay. Like following week after we,
yeah, definitely. You'll be able to get those on eBay and all that afterwards. For people who want a collector's item. But
so I put my first $10 bid on the one that you're about to post after this, so I'll take that one.
Well, the starting bid at 10. Everyone can get their bids in. But yeah, no, it got me a little depressed seeing Ambrose on there, knowing that he's probably not going to be on there, but who knows? We'll get into that later. But
they said he's still on. I can't believe anything because the word was like, oh yeah, there's pictures of him still in the sling. I'm like, that could all be a work too. We're all getting worked. All of this is a work. All of this is bullshit.
I'm afraid that Dana might have been mentioning that at some point. So I don't want to talk too much about it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's got to be some surprises. You know, that's what I love about Mania. People, just like with the Royal Rumble, why do people like the Royal Rumble? The surprises. We don't want to know all 30 entries beforehand. I don't want to know that. You know, I want to be surprised. You know, so that's what I think WrestleMania has always been known for. Remember that time when NWO all came out? It was during Triple H and Sting and all that. That was like, whoa, mind blown, poof. Like, that was awesome. You know, so I just want more surprises. If Joe shows up, that'll be a cool surprise.
It would, yeah.
You know, I could see Joe with Braun, two villains. I could see that. You know, look at that. Look how nice it is. Can't wait to get that. $10, right? Right?
$10, right? No.
The buttermilk. All right. But yeah. All right. So what is that it or more news?
You can purchase your WrestleMania 35 tickets today.
Oh, whoa.
They have a layaway plan? There's a layaway plan.
They're available.
New Jersey, right?
Yeah, Jersey.
In East Rutherford, New Jersey. The cheapest one I'm staring at is $132.
Whoa.
And if you're hoping to get first row camera side, you can pretty much forget about it because the same marks are always going to have those seats.
Those seats are going for $1,400.
You know, now.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
There's always, living in the East Coast, man, there's always snow during that time. You know, it never fails. So that's an open air. That's a football stadium. I've never seen wrestlers wrestle in snow. I've seen them wrestle in rain, but never snow.
Well, see, that's why you should get your ticket so that you can experience something.
Yeah, no, that's not going to be fun. Not going to be fun.
Come on now.
I doubt they're going to do that. We're watching men and women in their undies running around in a ring. I doubt if it's going to be fun doing that with snow. Where they're going to have snowball fights. That's why I think it's going to be tough, especially with that. Because, I mean, recently in April, all the way into going into May, New York's still getting snow. The metropolitan area, Jersey, they're still getting snow.
They took a big risk when they did that in
with the Giants.
The
Super Bowl when they did that.
They had the Super Bowl there. I think it was what was it, the Seahawks and Broncos. I think that was in New York. Yeah.
And it snowed. It snowed like the week before, something like that. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And like, let's say they have a big nor'easter and a whole bunch of snow goes on and it covers the stadium the day of WrestleMania. What is their contingency plan? How do they manage that? It would be a disaster.
Yeah.
It's a big risk.
Big risk. Big risk. That's why it's like when I heard that, I'm like, you know what I thought it was going to be? I thought it was going to be in Atlanta. At the new state, at the blank stadium.
Well, you know, it should have been in Atlanta because you know I definitely would have been.
Oh, you would have? Yeah, no, that would have been awesome because that stadium, the Blank family, which is they own it, and the Home Depot, and then they own the MLS soccer team, Atlanta FC that plays there. But that's a beautiful stadium, and it's huge, so it just like made sense. But remember, it's not about that now. It's about which state bids the highest. So I guess Jersey threw in the highest bid.
So I guess in 2035, when the Falcons actually win a championship, then they'll be like, okay, maybe we'll have it in Atlanta now.
Not even. It's all about money. Not even. All about money. They don't care. The Saints haven't won anything recently, and they're so far been there, 2 times in the past 5 years?
That's true. That's a very good point. We'll see. All right, Dana, was that all the news for
killed my hype for WrestleMania 35. I'll just take my $100 ticket, go by myself.
Oh no, I'm going.
We'll go. I'm definitely.
I'm going.
I'm gonna. In fact, we should really cement that. We'll see about getting these tickets before they get jacked up, and then I'll plan it out because
Yeah.
We want to get primo seats though. No nosebleeds, man.
No, not in that stadium. Not especially if it's gonna be snowing. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have nothing to protect you. You'll be completely exposed to the elements. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's all. We band together, get some health insurance, and we'll be all right.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it?
That's it for the news topics.
All right.
Right?
Don't worry, I'm going to make a little song and see if I can add that into.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Little new song, like.
Well, sounds better than Mickey James, so I'm for it.
It'll be Mickey James dubbed down and played backwards.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dana.
Yeah, thank you, Dana, for the news recap.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of topics in mind for us to discuss this evening. And some of the stuff, Dana, you actually touched on some of this stuff, but there's another angle to some of these other things. So the first topic I want to address. Now, I think that we can agree, since this year has started, WWE has made it a point to let us all know, let all the fans know that they really love and care about the women. They really love and care about the women and having them featured more prominently. You know, we got the women's Royal Rumble match at the Royal Rumble. We're going to have a women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania. So obviously, you know, it's great for them to do that, feature the women more prominently. But there is one event in particular which I definitely have to ask the question about, and I definitely want to get you guys' opinion. And that is, of course, the greatest Royal Rumble event, in which WWE has already said that there will be no females performing at that event. So, obviously, Dana, you mentioned earlier, we're going to get a Intercontinental title ladder match with Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, The Miz, and Seth Rollins. We're also going to get Triple H versus John Cena. We're also going to get the Hardy Boys going up against Cesaro and Sheamus for the tag titles. So obviously some of this stuff, you know, we don't really know if this is going to spoil what actually happens at Mania. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, no, there's no way they know that. I mean, that's just giving away that they're still going to have the belts. No.
Yeah, well, hey, I hope not. And then, of course, we're getting the 50-man Battle Royal, a Royal Rumble match. So, which is fine. But again, what I want to discuss is the fact that they have said that there are going to be no females wrestling at all. However, females and kids are going to be allowed to the event to watch. So I wanted to get you guys' opinions on the fact that they're right now, and WWE has already said that there will be no female wrestlers competing at this event. What do you think about this?
It's a cultural thing. We all know that.
That's what it is because of...
That's what it was before, because with the burqa, the women have to be covered up and stuff. They tried it for a little while. They did that one match, or I think it was maybe 2 matches. But I know when they did the last tour, and it caused a lot of controversy, and it's difficult for the wrestlers to work that way. So, and also the way they were, you know, scantily clothed and stuff, or lack of clothes, you know, the female wrestlers, that's just what they do. So I think it's just to avoid all the drama and the press and dealing with all of that. They're like, no, we'll just respect your traditions of things, and we won't put women on the stage like that. So I think that's the whole thing there.
I think that's a good explanation, because I didn't even think about that. Very, very interesting. Dana, you have any thoughts on this?
See, I wonder if it's a life-threatening issue, because, you know, for example, Darren Young, when he came out as being gay, he wasn't allowed to tour to certain places overseas because they have a very strict policy about gays, and his life was in danger. And so even though he was very upset and it was very, you know, traumatizing for him, they did it so that they could, you know, preserve his life, because, you know, anything could go down. So I am kind of okay with this if this is something where they're getting threats, you know, by having female wrestlers there. If not, I say throw on a burqa and go out there and wrestle and go and make history. It's one match. They're not going to have it for, you know, long, and keep it moving.
What was it? The Prince just recently passed a law where women can learn how to drive. You know, like there's a lot of things, and then to say, oh yeah, we have this big event coming, and women are going to be wrestling in a ring, you know, half naked and stuff. Oh, no, that's might be going a little bit too far. So
you don't have to be naked. You put on the whole, like, a body.
Yeah, I don't think they want to go through that. I don't think they want to do that, because I mean, we still didn't see that match. They didn't post it. We know what happened. We saw some pictures and stuff, but they didn't really advertise that. That's not something they want to do. So it just, I think it avoids the hassle of trying to explain that to viewers if it is on a network. Hey, the reason why these women are female wrestlers all covered up is because of you know, the cultural differences, and this is what they do here. So that's they won't waste time doing that.
But they explained it when they showed the highlights on Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, and we don't know what the feedback was like after that. I mean, there's a lot of, just to be honest, there's a lot of racism out there against things. And I'm sure maybe there was some kind of backlash. People like, why did they have to do that? Blah, blah, blah. We're Americans. We should. Blah, blah, blah. And they probably, you know what? This is going to be a mess. Let's just leave it alone. Let's just leave it alone. Just like you said with the whole thing with they were young, it's like, do you want to deal with that? Do you want to risk, not even just him coming out, but people doing anti-protests of gays and sports or whatever, throwing stuff, do you want that? I mean, I've heard some cases of boxing where some people do the kissy thing, doing all that type of thing. They don't want to do it. It all depends on the market, wherever you're at, So,
right, and this is what I said, unless it's something where,
well, that's what I'm saying, because of the cultural differences, I think. I don't think it's threats. I think it's just a cultural thing. It's like, they're going to do advertising. They're going to have billboards. These wrestlers are going to go out there and do promotion work with the local media, and they don't want a distraction of that. Would be a big distraction. Or you have all these women and bra and panties pretty much just wrestling when all the women here have to be covered up. This is big. So I don't think they want that distraction. They want to go there, and that's it. And who knows? Remember, this is a paid event. They were being paid for this, so maybe that was part of the deal also. Hey, bring all your top guys here. Leave the women home. Thanks. Here's a check. All right. So maybe we'll find out many, many years later when one of these wrestlers leaves and writes a book.
But the thing is that they're already facing controversy and a lot of angry people from sponsors, WWE sponsors, by not having any women in Saudi Arabia wrestle.
Hey, well, it's too bad. I mean, that check must be pretty big. Think about it. If that check wasn't that big, they wouldn't be doing this. They wouldn't be having these big major events going over 50 wrestlers in a battle royal and then have all these big tag matches. There's no way they would do that if it wasn't a massive check. They knew what they were getting into. So if sponsors are upset, too bad. Don't worry about it. Your sponsor, they probably don't even sell your product out there, so it's not going to hurt anybody. And it doesn't look like it's going to be televised here in the States. If anything, it'll be on the network. And I mean, we used to see commercials on the network, but I don't see commercials anymore on the network. Do you see commercials on the network?
The fried chicken.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we see like little sprinkles, but I remember before seeing Gillette commercials and other things, and they just stopped. I think we saw. No, it wasn't even on the new commercial that Elias is in. Is that a Snickers commercial? Yeah, I didn't see that on the network. I saw that on Raw and SmackDown, but I didn't see it on the network. So
we'll see about that.
Yeah, I don't think the sponsors. Come on now, it's a cultural thing, and WWE took the money. That's it. It's happening. It is what it is, and they knew what they were getting into. If anything, if it was really that big of an issue, they could have really snuck this by everybody and didn't have to advertise it at all to us. They didn't have to say anything, and then say, oh, we got this event that we did a few months back. We just posted on the network. You want to check it out? If not, whatever. Here's Woken Matt Hardy. Woken, distract us. That's it. Here's another final. What I mean? It's like, so I think that was the reason, and we just have to move on from it. Is it going to be an amazing event? Who knows? It sounds like a super card.
Yeah.
Why go through all of that and here's the thing. Why go through, they changed the rules. Remember, women couldn't even watch sports in that country.
Baby steps. Give it time. Women couldn't vote here for many years. Not even to in the 50s or so. Come on. Things change. It's slowly changed. I just told you, women were just recently given the right to drive.
Right. And he's lessened the rule. Mm-hmm. The Prince lessened the rule. And they even said that it's having it would segregate it, but it's a whole separate area from the males only where you can have families, which means where females can sit.
Yeah, but you gotta understand, it's just like it's religious and it's a cultural thing. You're telling people to start breaking these type of rules. Like, oh, by the way, now you're gonna see these women running around with no clothes in this match. They may like it, but they don't want women in their minds to get in their heads that it's okay to do that. Their women traditionally have to be covered up. You're married, you have to be covered up. They just don't. I know we just can't argue it. This is beyond all of us. This is beyond WWE. This is deep politics. This is cultural. This is religion. This is beliefs. You can't expect WWE to come in and make that kind of impact and change in the society. We can't do that. It's pro wrestling. Can't do it.
Well, I guess as Triple H said, whatever is best for business. And as you said, they saw their paycheck. They said, oh, yeah, well, we will do whatever because we need that money.
That's what I'm saying. Think how big that check has to be, because it's the expense of flying these guys out there, booking them, doing the whole thing, the venue, the pyro. They're gonna go. I mean, well, not the pyro, but the light show and all the stage setup, all this, and that's expensive. And usually for these type of events, that's all covered. That's all covered. That's just like when you see certain wrestlers, they say, oh, yeah, I'm booked in Japan. They book my hotel, my flight, and all that. That's a covered job. Same thing here. They're paying for all of this.
Yeah.
Plus, they're giving WWE money. So,
Ricky, do you have any thoughts on this? And I do have some news to let you know after you share your thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, money talks. That's what it comes down to with this. I'm not sure necessarily that WWE even really had a say in this. I think it was one of those things with Saudi Arabia that they're like, we're going to give you a ton of money, an unbelievable amount of money, but you can't bring the woman over, flat out. And WWE's like, well, okay, that's all that takes, then fine. Now, couple things I wanted to mention was that this past December, they had a show in Abu Dhabi where I believe it was Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss had a match, and it was the first time ever that female wrestlers competed in Abu Dhabi. They had to be completely covered up from head to toe, but they were still able to perform on there, and and all that. Saudi Arabia might be even stricter than that, where they don't even want to dabble in that kind of thing. But it seems a bit hypocritical of WWE to push this whole women's evolution and all that, and then to not make and some of the women are the biggest stars in the company, but not feature them on the show. And I'm sure that again, like, that's restrictions of Saudi Arabia. WWE is not going to definitely shatter the earth there or anything like that. If it would probably mean the show is off, so they're not going to risk losing all that money. Now, speaking of money, I do want to go back into the whole thing about the Fabulous Moolah, as you'll know, that we're promoting this whole thing with, like, we're going to have our first women's battle royal at the Royal Rumble, and then now we're going to do it at WrestleMania, but we're going to name it after a woman who pimped out other women. And it's like, what the fuck? And I'm sure WWE knew that this was the case, because they muted people on YouTube, on their YouTube video, because they really wanted to silence that kind of that narrative. And it wasn't until their main sponsor, Snickers, got a hold of this news that WWE backtracked and said, "Oh, well, we're just going to rename it the Women's Battle Royal, because we listen to the fans. Thank you so much," and blah blah blah. Load of horse shit. It's money talks. That is the bottom line of it, and I totally understand that they're going to do what's in their best interest for business. It would, from a business sense, it would be pretty silly of them to turn down a whole ton of money, because it's like, well, if you're not going to let our women wrestle, then we're gonna completely turn down this offer. There's no way they can do it. They're just going to tell the women, like, look, you stay home for this. We'll pay you for it. We'll give you a chunk of the earnings from this show. You just stay home. You stay safe there. Blah blah blah. And I'm sure that's what they'll do. It's a little uncomfortable, because it's a double standard from what they really try to tell the people of how much they promote, women's wrestling. But it is what it is. That's how they.
They could do the spin that it's just for the U.S. It was like, hey, that's us. We can't change the world, but we could start here at home. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, very, very good discussion. I did wanted to basically get you guys' opinions on that. Obviously, because that was the one thing that I did saw when I did see that that was the case. But there was a lot of good points made. So, yeah, it's about the money, I would assume, and we'll see what happens as a result of this. But yeah, we probably should move on to the next topic because I know a lot of people don't want us to talk about some of this stuff. Maybe it might be too controversial. So next topic, I wanted to ask this question because I know that we've all been watching Raw, we've all been watching SmackDown, and I do have some SmackDown specific question I'm going to ask after this. But just with WrestleMania coming up, I wanted to ask this question, because I'm curious what you guys' answer is going to be. Based on all of the matches we know that are confirmed for WrestleMania so far, and all of the buildup that has happened between different feuds, so on and so forth, I'm curious to know, what do you guys think of all the matches that are confirmed so far? Which do you think is actually had the better build up so far, in terms of whenever the feud started to where we are at now, and the fact that there will now be a match at WrestleMania? Now, I can go down the list of all the confirmed matches so far, but I think we already know that. So I'm just curious, though, based on the storylines that you've seen happen over the last couple of weeks and even the last couple of months, which WrestleMania match do you think has been built up the best so far?
Oh man, that's really tough, because if you really look, all right, so Asuka and Flair, that got popped up quick.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the plan. We all know that wasn't the plan. This is just something to build up the card. So sort of want to see that, but then you hear Flair might be hurt, and it's like, if that's the case, she's still going to work, but are we going to get the full Flair experience? Now we don't know. And there wasn't really too much of a build up with that. So can't really say story-wise there. The Shinsuke AJ, same thing. Now let's talk about AJ has a serious, what is that, MCL tear. So he's still going to wrestle, but it might not be full capacity. And also, they haven't really been hyping it up too much. It's there, but then they were sort of hinting with Cena being, partaking in that match. And I think it's because they knew of this AJ injury. So they're like, well, maybe this will just lessen the workload. If there's 3 men, he could roll out every once in a while, that type of thing. So I'm trying to think the only match. Man, that's the thing. It's like, no one's looking forward to the main event. That's the sad thing. Nobody's looking forward to the main event. No one's looking forward to the co-main event. Nope. Anybody really hyped to see Ronda Rousey and Stephanie McMahon go at it?
Yeah, I think Dana is.
Dana. Okay, so Dana.
No, I am not. You better stop lying on me.
So
3 years too late.
If it was in the Mixed Match Challenge, you would love it.
You see, the Mixed Match Challenge.
Don't knock it.
I'm trying to think what else, because it really is the Nia Bliss. Not that they've been building that up. So yeah, I could say they've sort of been building. That's been building for a long time. That matchup, but that's not one that we all want to see. I don't think anyone was like, damn, I can't wait to see that. No, the tag match. That's like, again, well, we don't know who Braun's partner, but even if he has like a surprise entry of somebody like Bobby or whoever comes in for, it's still not going to be like, wow. It'll be wow for whoever comes in, but it's not going to be like, yes, this is going to be an awesome tag team. I don't know. It's just not going to do it. You know what? There's really nothing. I'm sorry. There's been more build up on the takeover side than it has for this.
I actually agree with that. I agree with that 100%. And if I was to say takeover, just to say that very quickly, I think obviously Gargano and Ciampa, they have been building that for the longest time. So that would have to get some type of consideration. But just so I'd stay on topic here with the main roster, I do believe it's definitely hard to say that. And my other question was going to be, which match do you also think has been horribly built? Because there has to be one that is good and one that they've done a horrible job on.
I could do mine quick, and then everybody could jump in.
Okay, go ahead.
Cena, Undertaker.
Okay, why Cena Undertaker?
Because it's like hyping it for what? And then if all the rumors are true, I think people are going to see the American Badass. Nobody wants to see that version of Undertaker come back. So you're hyping this all up to give us the Badass again? No, nobody wants that. Nope. Even if he comes down with the bike and he does the whole thing, no. You know, and I hate the fact that Cena keeps coming out and is like, oh, just because you lost, you know, I lose match, I get right back up. That's my model. It's like, yeah, this dude's like 10 years older than you. He's had hip surgery. You know what I mean? He's been banged up. So it's not the same. So don't try to play it off that way. And there's young kids and people that believe in it. And here it's like, yeah, that's right. He should be wrestling every day. No.
Cena's sounding like an entitled, spoiled brat.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I have to be, but if not, I'll be in the stands. Well, then go in the damn stands, you know, because we don't need you, and we don't need the Undertaker going out there all banged up. We all have to accept the fact that Undertaker has passed his prime. The Undertaker that we remember is always going to be there, but he's not going to be in the ring. It's like when Flair decided to start wrestling again. Remember? He started juicing up. I mean, he was like 60-some years old, and he was going all jacked up and shit with the pecs, but he couldn't move the same way. And you have to accept that. People get old. That's just the way it is. They're superheroes to us, but they do get old. You know, we can't always expect to see, you know, let's say when the high flyers start getting old to start doing shooting star presses and swantons. I don't want to see a 6-year-old man, Jeff Hardy, doing a swanton, you know, and going through tables and ladders and all. No, we don't need that. That's the thing, man. Shoot, we almost lost the Undertaker a few years ago. Remember when he did that dive from the top, and he went head for? If it wasn't for that cameraman, he would have landed on his neck and died. You know.
Well, he also had that thing where he lost to Brock Lesnar and he passed out.
Yep, he passed out. He passed out, you know, and then before that, when he got burnt, remember with the pyro, set him on fire. I mean, guy's been through a lot. You know, we've seen him in amazing matches. We've seen it. We've seen the dream matches, except the one with Sting, but that's life, right? You know, and that's one I would like to see, even if they were all moving real slow and it was like an old school 70s match where no over the top, none of that, a lot of just mat wrestling. That would work for me because it's all about gimmick versus gimmick. But Cena, no one cares. Even when he sort of gave away the ending, don't you want to see me take a tombstone and get it? And it was like cheering, yeah. It's like, well, no, I don't really want to see it. Don't care, because I know there's no way Undertaker's going to lose back-to-back Manias. So you will be going down. You will be laying down. You know, but nah.
So I just have a quick comment I want to make on that. I agree with a lot of what you said. One thing I will say, though, in regards to the version of The Undertaker that we are going to be getting, as you know, we've already said, the American Badass, I would not be surprised if WWE decides to pull a video out of their vault and goes back to the first time that Undertaker acknowledged Cena backstage. That was the exact same gimmick the Undertaker had, was the American Badass. So I won't be surprised if they pull that video out of their vault to try and say, oh, yeah, this match was going to happen, or this is why it needs to happen. But I don't know if they're going to do it.
Well, they got to be quick because it's only got 1 week. You know, but everybody keeps saying because Kid Rock
yep. Yeah,
so they're like, he's going into the Hall of Fame. He's going to be there. It just sort of fits that he's going to come out, perform the song live, and then the dude comes down with the motorcycle. You know, everything is pointing to the American Badass, but a lot of people did not like that gimmick. People couldn't wait for him to come back as the Dead Man. You know, and a lot of people could hate it or not, but that was Undertaker's decision. Undertaker was tired of doing the Dead Man thing. He wanted to do something more fresh, and it's like, all right, well, they gave him the power to do it, but nobody wanted it. So
yeah, pretty bad.
You know, that's why it's like that reaction. If he comes out, I don't think it's going to be the same reaction if he comes out like that. But again, everything points that if he does wrestle, which it looks like it's 100% guaranteed he's going to be wrestling. Think about it. At the last minute, what did he do? Took off his gloves. He took the hat and the coat and everything. He put it in the ring. That character is dead. And then he lowered himself. He's gone. Poof. There you go. Gimmick dead. So.
That's true. Okay, so that's a good pick for.
We Mark Calloway.
Oh, mean Mark Calloway?
No. You just going over everybody's head with that one. That was like, who's this guy coming out?
There you go. Yeah, it was bad. I was watching 19, and they did the whole Limp Bizkit one when him as the badass, and the whole performance, and Limp Bizkit actually doing like hip hop moves. in the ring with Undertaker. It was so bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. So, Dana, do you want to go next? You could tell us which match you think has been built up good and which one do you think has been built up horrible?
Can I say all of them have been built up horribly?
Yeah, you can.
Equally. I'm looking at this and I'm sitting here and I'm like, when did you? Only thing that's ever been really teased and forced down our throats is Brock versus Roman Reigns. But I don't care about that. They haven't built up AJ and Shinsuke, which is supposed to be, in my mind, the match that, it steals the show. The whole Ronda and Kurt and Stephanie, they have successfully built that up. But again, I give a flying fart about that. It's 3 years too old. Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon, Kevin Owens, Sammy, they did a good job building that up. But again, I don't give a flying fart. I'm just there to see if Daniel Bryan gets killed. Literally, that's the only reason why I'll watch. Flair and Asuka has not been built at as well. And that, I think, is another show that might steal the show. Another match that'll steal the show. They have not promoted that. They've just had Asuka come down there and say, I chose you, and that's about it. We haven't heard anything from it. Alexa and Nia, okay, I think it's cute. I think it's funny what they've done, and they had, Nia look for Alexa in one of the suitcases, but I don't like how they made the match just be, you're big and fat and you're ugly, and I'm so sick and tired of being your friend. I think that's just really poor writing, and it could have been built as being, something watchable, but the writing to me is just so atrocious. I can't even say the word. Basically, it's really bad. Atrocious. There you go. Atrocious and offensive that I just don't care about it anymore. Seth and Balor, I didn't even know that they had a match. That's how bad that they've been doing. That whole Miz TV thing, I thought it was like a tag team that they was doing. Orton and Rude, with Jinder Mahal and Rusev, they didn't do a great job with that either. Usos and New Day, I don't really care. I'm just excited for the Bludgeon Brothers. I hope they win. I don't care about the other two because I've seen them wrestle for 500 years. We had rap battles and everything else. I don't care about that. I'm just here, Braun Strowman. I just want to know who his tag team partner is so he can win the belt. And the Cruiserweights, I didn't even know that they was wrestling. So they all equally just kind of suck. They didn't even, pump up the battle royal between and we're having a women's battle royal.
Yeah.
I didn't see any type of promo for that.
Well, allow me to make a quick comment. I just want to say, after hearing you and Adam praise 205 Live, I'm surprised that you guys didn't say, oh, well, this match, I think this has been built up pretty good.
Well, I'm thinking of the main card, the big ones. That one, that's the 205 Live title match. That's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun one, but I thought that was going to be on the undercard.
Well, they didn't say what's going to be on what yet.
I didn't think that was going to be on their main card.
Well, I would hope if Triple H is trying to, make this brand important, it wouldn't be on the undercard. But I don't know what they're going to do because they have too many matches already.
Show, but they didn't even do a great job highlighting that as being the kickoff show. Nobody knows that the show
because that will be a very good match.
Yeah, WrestleMania starts at 3. Nobody knows it.
It's too long. It's just too damn long.
Oh well, man. So they basically both of you had said it's all been horrible. How about you, Ricky? Is there any match that you think has been built up good, and any match you think has been built up badly, or did you think that you all agree that everything has been done horribly?
Well, I'll agree is that both of those are trick questions. Because this is to assume that there has been a good build-up. There has not. I can tell you what has been built up the best out of them and what has been built up the worst. I can't say that any of them have been good. I will say that probably by default, the best build-up has been Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, because that goes back to last year with the whole power struggle between Bryan and Shane, and with Bryan, teasing a heel turn because he was siding with Owens, and all that. And then you had the whole thing with Sami. Actually, it goes back even further than that, because when Shane and Owens were feuding, you had Sami Zayn turn heel by saving Kevin Owens' bacon. So that's been going back since that, and I've been wondering, like, is this going to lead to Daniel Bryan returning to the ring at WrestleMania? Boy, that would be cool, but I just don't see it happening. But now it's a reality, and I think a lot of people are excited to see Bryan, back in the ring for the first time in 2.5 years. So I would say that is probably the best build by default. The one I would consider number 2 would be actually Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. Now, I'm saying that as someone that hasn't watched 205 Live much, but I know that these two are close friends, and I've always felt that they were both kind of on a collision course to determine the next Cruiserweight champion. So
that's going to be an amazing match.
Yeah.
They're just over the top, their move sets, and it's just going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a shame that it's going to be relegated to the pre-show. I think that's pretty much a given. But I think that will be the case with that. But yeah, so those are the ones I think have been built up the best. As far as the worst, Cena, Undertaker, definitely. I'm getting really sick and tired of this whole thing. Like, this has only really come up in the past month, and it's just Cena's entitlement. Like, I don't have a match at WrestleMania, man. What if I face the Undertaker? And I thought that was cool at first when he mentioned it, and it was a huge pop and all that. But now he's just whining. He's like, "You're not saying nothing, and you're being a bitch for not saying anything, and every week and all that." It's like, we know the match is gonna happen. It's just, but like, it's all the whining every week, and makes it to the point where I almost don't even care. And how to put it? I don't know. Let me also say that as far as wasted potential goes, Charlotte and Asuka, okay? If there was ever it's not going to happen, okay? But if there was ever a women's match in the history of WWE that could close out a WrestleMania, it would be that, because you've got to consider that Charlotte is, one of the most the most decorated female wrestler in WWE history when you consider different belts that she's won. And you have her, she's definitely like in a class of her own with that. But then you have Asuka, who ever since signing with WWE, going all the way back to NXT, has been undefeated. So you have an unstoppable force versus a movable object, and it's a hell of a match. The problem is that they only made it official recently, and and all it's ever been is, I respect you, and I respect you, but I'll beat you at WrestleMania. No, that's not going to happen, because I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania. It's like, I don't get the sense that they have any kind of competitive fire against each other. Like, you have someone's streak on the line in New Orleans, mind you. And the last time, we know what happened the last time there was a streak on the line at New Orleans, so that's a big thing there. And then, Charlotte, with her having the belt and all that, you figure if there's anyone that could end Asuka's streak, it'd be Charlotte. But maybe Asuka wins it and keeps that going. It's maybe the match I'm having the most difficulty predicting the final outcome. But they're not building it up that much. It's kind of an afterthought.
Did you hear this rumor? And I was like, this has to be a crazy rumor, because there's no way they would do this. But supposedly they're going to keep Asuka undefeated until the next Mania when she goes against Rousey.
Yep. I heard that rumor.
I'm like, that's crazy. This is like, what? That'll be like 3 years undefeated? Come on now. Never. She could then, after that, get caught with, I don't know, cocaine, crack, all kinds of stuff, and there'll be no way that they could expunge what she's accomplished in the company. Because you know how they like to do that when somebody leaves a company and then they like have somebody beat them, or let's say the fastest, what was it? Was it the Warrior for not the War, the Ultimate, but the not the Road Warrior. Oh man, what was his name? It was for the Rumble, the quickest exit, and then they had Santino do it. You know, and then so then that way they could stop bringing up the name of.
I want to say the Barbarian had the
Barbarian, yeah, the Barbarian.
It's either Barbarian or the Warlord. The
Warlord
had the record.
Yep, and then they were tired of saying it, so then they gave it to Santino. They had Santino do well, something like that. They can't if she screws anything up. Think about it, 3 years undefeated. There's no way they would ever let that happen again. So I don't know. That's crazy talk.
It's beautiful.
I could see it. Because, you know, they draw things out for a while, and, you know, Asuka hasn't even been on the main roster for a year yet. So they'll probably want to give her at least a year of that and see how people are receptive to it. Because, I mean, it's a whole different thing than NXT where NXT doesn't get that much exposure compared to the main roster. You know, you'll have Asuka have a match once or twice a month on NXT versus every single week, you know, of the year, including pay-per-views. So it's a whole different thing. And if you'll remember, Asuka had to be heel towards the end of her NXT run because, you know, some people were getting tired of her like winning all the time. And that would probably come, and that's why I'm thinking if they were going to do Ronda Rousey, they'll strap the rocket onto her and have her win at SummerSlam. I'm not sure that they would wait all the way until WrestleMania of the following year, because that's a long time to wait, considering all the exposure. You know, they're gonna wanna end this streak before it gets to the point where people are just completely sick of Asuka. I'm
trying to think. It's like, I forgot who she won that belt from.
Who?
Asuka. Was it? Who did she?
Bayley.
Win? It was Bayley? That's right. She beat Bayley for it.
Yep, and we were there, Rich.
Yep, we were there. And
people were shocked.
People were shocked. And let me add that Bayley has never been the same since she lost that belt. So that's...
No, she has not.
Fall from grace. Yeah. Came to the main roster, and yeah, it hasn't been all that great.
I would argue, and this is a discussion for another day, that Bayley has never been hotter than when she had her feud with Sasha Banks in NXT and won it in Brooklyn and then defended it at Respect. That was the shot. That's when Bayley was white hot, and she's never reached that point since then.
I agree. All right, so
yeah, I would see it. Yeah. I would say Charlotte Asuka may be the worst hyped match considering what it could be. And you know, AJ's and Nakamura, I kind of figured that they weren't going to have a major build up for it because they don't really need to with that. It's like there's no belt at stake, there's no streak at stake. It's just two guys who, you know, really that they respect the hell out of each other, and they're going to put on a good show. I really feel like Charlotte versus Asuka should be a bigger deal than it's been built up to be, but that's just me.
I agree. So, you know, some great thoughts throughout, and you know, you are right, Ricky, when you said is that a trick question? Because yeah, I think it kind of is a trick question. WWE hasn't been doing a good job. You know, I will give them props. I will say this. I did enjoy the Shinsuke, you know, AJ interaction on SmackDown this past week, where, you know, they had their little exchange and they had Shinsuke trying to talk again. So that was a little funny, you know, interaction. But yeah, they haven't done a good job building that up. And I don't know. We'll have to see what ultimately happens at WrestleMania. But speaking of SmackDown, I'm going to move on to the next topic. And we've already talked a little bit about this. I have to ask the question, though. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement with that Daniel Bryan is returning. And then, as you know, we now know from the news that Dana mentioned earlier that Shane McMahon opted not to have that surgery, but is also going to be seemingly taking it easy. So I wanted to ask you guys this question. Do you think Daniel Bryan's return is going to be a letdown? If you had to make a guess right now.
Oh man, it's like, all right, get ready. This is it. nobody wants to hear this. Nobody wants to hear this.
Stop.
It's a warning now. I don't want to see him in the ring. I don't want to see
Debbie Downer.
I will be the Debbie Downer. I don't want to see something bad happen to him. You know, I don't want to see. We just saw that happen with Paige, and it's done for. It's a wrap. There's no coming back. And I don't want to see that with Daniel Bryan. I get his hunger, his desire. I get it. We can't take it away. That's just the way it is. It's in him. He has to do it. Fine, but I'm sure he signed all kinds of documents. You know, hey, disclaimers, this happened, you're done. This happens, don't sue us. You're paralyzed, don't sue us. I mean,
cleared by like 5 different professionals.
Over time, because nothing's happened. It's still loose. You know, when you have concussions, and I brought this up in the last show, you know, it's that your brain is loose. It loosens, which is why you're more prone to concussions after you've had a concussion. You know, and that's the thing. Yeah, of course things look normal. He hasn't done any activity to cause one. Now, when you start taking bumps, even throwing yourself back, flipping over the top rope, any of those type of things, we're not even talking about anybody like hitting him. You know, that's a lot of movement. That's a lot of impact that could happen to the back and to the head. All it takes is for it to hit the wrong way and bang the side of the wall, any left, right, front, back, frontal lobe, and that's it. He'll black out. You know, and that's it. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. We see everybody take some shots that they shouldn't have taken. Like, oh, that was a stiff elbow. Oh, well, it happens. I mean, what was it? I think it was Raven that talked about one time that some people hated one move because they were talking to him about some moves that he hated to take. And he says, well, I know one move that everyone hated for me was the roaring elbow because he would spin and do it. And he couldn't really tell what point because he was spinning. So it was really up to the other person to pinpoint, or else they would catch the tip of the elbow to the face, you know, because he would do a spin. You know, so people hated that, you know, as opposed to just a regular elbow, you see it coming, you could duck, and then it's like it just hits to the side and it's not a stiff shot. But with that, it sucked. And you can catch somebody at the temple, wrong spot, and it could hurt with her. Whatever happens, he's going to take a shot. Something's going to happen. He's going to take a stiff shot. It's inevitable. It happens to everybody, just what it is. They could try to be cautious, play it safe. You know, he's going to do his own bumps from the top rope and do all that type of stuff. And we're going to see where he gets dizzy. Because that's the first time, just like what happened last time when he said he was, remember, I'm cleared, everything is fine. He came back, started getting dizzy in the ring, goes in the back, yeah, I'm getting numb, my fingers getting numb, all this stuff. Can't do it. You gotta let it go. You know, you hear all these people that went through surgery, Edge and everybody, and they're not approving this at all. But hey, you know, he wants to do it, live his dream, go ahead, do it. He didn't have the surgery done. They have all had the surgery done. But remember, the point of the surgery was to prolong their career. Didn't work out so well for a lot of them, you know, even with the surgery. So here's a guy with no surgery, you know, and he's talking about going in there. You know, and there's not much you can do with the concussions. Everybody else had neck injuries. I get that. But he's also had neck injuries. But I just don't want to see it. I just don't see any desire to see it. There's no feuds or match types that I would want to see. Like, yeah, see him against Shinsuke and do that whole thing. They were roommates back in the day. That would be fun. But who's going to really win that match? Shinsuke's going to win that match. What's Shinsuke's finisher move? We don't want to see a knee to the face, to the head, you know, of Daniel Bryan. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, that'll be the Daniel Bryan's final match if that's the case.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to see that. And we know, and you know, with the suplexes and stuff like that, he's going to have to take one. He's going to have to take one. I mean, a lot of those moves, it's an impact sport. As much as people's like, oh, it's fake, it's scripted, but it's still, there's impact. You're still tossing another human around. You know, whether it's on mats or not, this shit still happens. I mean, it's just, it's sad, you know, and I don't want to see it. And we know he's going to put 100%. He always does. He's going to go all out. He's going to want to make it look good. He's going to do it. And I think that's going to hurt him in the long run. So I'm not looking forward to this, and I wish it didn't happen. There you go.
All right, so I think you made a lot of good points. I'm gonna go ahead and say mine's real quick. I have a lot of respect for Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. I mean, those guys, you know, they're real workhorses. They've done a great job. in WWE so far. So I'm totally fine with, I'm a fan of all that they've done for wrestling. With that said, when they had this whole Shane McMahon storyline, I wasn't really into that storyline. Now, Shane already had his match with Kevin Owens. We saw how that ended, and then you had Sami Zayn. So they prolonged the storyline and stretched it out over time, which is fine, I guess. But when you add Daniel Bryan to this, and obviously, as Ricky already alluded to, he had said already that, this is it had to eventually get to this result, so that's fine. I think the match will be okay, but I have to go back to this and say, honestly, if there was ever a match that Daniel Bryan should have had when he was returning, I feel it should have been against The Miz. Because once again, going back to that whole segment they had on Talking Smack, and the fact that they mixed some legitimate shooting at each other in that interview. Obviously, they work very well together. So I think if you were going to have this guy have a return match, it should have been against The Miz. And maybe that match will still happen eventually. They'll have to get Miz back on SmackDown and all this other stuff. They have to work out that whole situation. But I think for what it's worth, this match will be okay. I mean, but if you was to ask me, Daniel Bryan has a return match, do you think that this is the match that he should have? It's not a match that I personally am interested in because of the fact of what it is, and because Shane McMahon is also involved. I think Daniel Bryan deserves to stand on his own in a match. But again, that's just my opinion. But we'll see. Dana, what are your thoughts on this particular match? And do you think that Daniel Bryan's return is going to be a letdown?
See, here's the thing. Yes and no. The fact that Daniel Bryan is returning, it automatically makes it not a letdown. I think the match itself will probably be a letdown because people in their mind are expecting the old Daniel Bryan. The Daniel Bryan where he was a high flyer, he took a lot of risks, and he did a lot of amazing moves. And I'm not saying that he can't do that now, but what I'm saying is that they're going to probably ease him into it, which is why they put him in with the Shane McMahon match. Shane McMahon can't wrestle to save his life. He can fly and, and jump off of things. But when it comes down to wrestling, he cannot wrestle. What he likes to do is hit people with his elbows or his forearm, basically. And it's a very weird, you don't know where he's coming from because he takes it into this weird boxing thing. So he sucks just in general. So I think that this is a good match for him to be in so that they don't allow him to overdo it. So you're not going to see, the flying headbutt. You're not going to see all these crazy different moves because this is a match of, I think it's going to not be that much high flying. What you're going to see is, standard wrestling and then Shane trying to pretend that he's a teenager again and not wanting to let down his family and his kids. So he'll do something, off the top rope. Overall, this is going to be very bland. So I think if he continues and he's, doesn't break anything or discombobulates himself within, later next year, for WrestleMania next year, we might get a better match. But for now, this is the baby match that, make sure you don't kill yourself out there.
Very good point. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Although, yeah, Shane, as you said, Shane, he can't wrestle to save his life. So at least I wish they would have gave him a better tag.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I still think they will. I have a feeling that's the swerve. That they're going to change it up and say something happens, he can't compete or something's going on, and they have to get somebody, or he does get in a match and then they cheese it and he gets hurt real quick, or they attack him in the back. Remember, they've done that before. Mm-hmm. They attack him in the back. Oh, where's your partner now? Oh, I know where he is. He's on his way to the hospital. Da, da, da. And then that's when we get Bobby Lashley or Drew or somebody.
Some surprise, yeah.
That's the surprise.
Jericho?
No, we don't need that. And doesn't he have a concert happening at the same time somewhere upstate or something like that? Right? Because that was the big thing everyone kept saying. It was like, oh, Jericho's not on this card. And I was like, well, he has a concert going on the same night. But who knows? I don't want to see Jericho though. I could live without it. It's time for somebody else. They got plenty. Like we just talked about all the guys that are lined up, ready. Hell, even Samoa Joe, have them jump ship. It doesn't matter. They got people. They have plenty of other people, and have somebody else that could handle it and could work in the ring. Because that's the other thing. Daniel Bryan hasn't been. Yeah, he's been training and doing stuff for performance, but he hasn't been working. So to have him do it, maybe I'm assuming it's gonna be like a 15-20 minute match. Even though if it's a tag, I'm assuming most of it's going to be him in the ring. If Shane is still sick and hurt, he's not going to be able to carry that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to need somebody else. They're going to need somebody who can actually go and is 100%. And I think that's it. So they got to do that. If they're not thinking this way, then I don't know what they're waiting for, because you got plenty of quality guys in the back. They're like, yo, I'm ready to go. We need Rey Mysterio. Did I not tell you I'm ready to go? I'm under contract. We need Rey Mysterio. Is Shane ready to wrestle? What the hell is wrong with you? Why do you want to keep putting your son in this? You're right. He should be in the main event. You know what I mean? No one wants to see that except Shane and him and his dad. I don't know anybody. I don't know one person who's like, when Shane came back, and Shane O'Mac came in, I don't know one person that said, damn, I can't wait to see him wrestle again.
His kids.
Not the kids. His kids, he did it for his kids. And I get that. We got that with the Goldberg. We get that with every other old timer that comes back. I want to show my kids I could do that. Yeah, we seen the DVDs. They got the Blu-rays. They can watch that. We don't need to see that. Let younger people shine. It's a young man's sport. All athletics are. That's just the way it is. So this is no different. And to see you come out and like, you weren't that good before. You were good at taking bumps. You're older now. It doesn't work out great when you're older taking bumps. So think about it. I hate when people like, I had one guy who was like, yeah, it's going to be fun to see him in a match. I'm like, name one thing that you're really looking forward to. Well, man, didn't you remember when he did the Kurt Angle? Kurt Angle was throwing him with the glass and all. And remember when he liked to jump off and stuff? I'm like, yeah, those are all big bumps. High spots, that's it. I mean, he can't wrestle. You know what I mean? He's going to hurt himself. And sure enough, he was doing it. He started jumping off the top of the cell and doing all that craziness again, because that's what people expect and remember. But we saw how that worked out for Mick Foley. Eventually you take the wrong bump. And that's what I'm worried about, that he keeps feeling the need to do all this stuff. We don't need to see it. He doesn't need to do it. So I hate the fact they make it seem like he's this like special wrestler and then we're all hyped when we find out he's in a match. He's not.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
That's what I'm saying. It is what it is. But hopefully they do a swerve and they give something else.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I definitely want to see that, but we'll see whether or not they go through with that. Okay, Ricky, did you have any thoughts on Daniel Bryan's return match? Do you think it's going to be a letdown?
I'm not sure how to feel about it, because I'm happy to get to see him, wrestle again. And I get from his perspective of that, it's his first love, it's his main love, and he was really depressed when it seemed like he had to be retired. The thing is, like, Bree's supporting him on all this, and he wants to come back into it, and I know it's definitely risky, and it's one of those things where he's really going to need to pace himself smartly, because you'll recall that he missed time the first time after he won the world title, came back, won the Intercontinental title, had to forfeit again, and then following year had to retire. And there was a thing of the second time around, he did not slow down. He continued doing those dives out through the ropes and everything. He still continued. He wanted to kind of prove to himself, like, oh man, this wasn't shit. I'm fine. I can still do everything like this. That's my fear with him, is that he only knows one speed. And that is what would, that was always what was going to shorten his career, and it's going to shorten it again if he's not smart about it. So I'm not sure how this is going to play out. It really depends on how he handles himself as a competitor. If he tries to go 1,000% like he did last time, it's not going to end well for him. If he takes fewer risks, if he's not doing any stupid flying headbutts or anything like that, then it might work out. I'm happy to see it, and I'm gonna be a little optimistic that he's not going to get himself crippled or worse as a result of this. But I'm excited to see him get a second chance, or we may even consider this a third chance, a chance at it, because he's a good guy, and he deserves happiness. And if wrestling makes him happy, more power to him. I hope it works out. I'm excited to be, as some of you may know, I'm going to be at WrestleMania, and I'm excited to be able to see that return in person, because I remember, and Rich, you were with me. We watched it at my home, the WrestleMania 30. It's the first WrestleMania on the network. Daniel Bryan winning 2 matches the same night, and it was a great WrestleMania, the great ending and all that, and it really made me wish that I was there for that atmosphere. And so even though this is not going to compare to that, it's still going to be nice to be in that arena, see him come out and perform for as long as it ends up being. So I'm excited to see it. I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but I'm excited to see what happens.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Yeah. Very good thoughts all around. So we'll see what happens. So I do have one final main topic I want to get into. But before I do any of that, I'm obviously going to ask, this is a question that I guess is more so for you, Adam and Dana. Do you have anything you want to mention, any highlights you want to mention from 205 Live?
Just the match. This is going to be an amazing match. I know a lot of people still are not watching it, whether they just don't know that it's been rebranded pretty much. Like the format's been changed. But this is going to be an amazing match. And I want to say it's going to steal the show at Mania, but it might not be on that main show. So I can't really say that. But, I mean, this is going to... Mustafa Ali he's so special. And they've been doing a lot of the behind the scenes. They all have families. They have kids. I mean, they've worked the indies for years, and this is their time. Literally, this is their time. Like, think about it. If it wasn't for what happened with Enzo, this wouldn't be happening. This was a gift given to them of him doing his foolishness and getting out of the whole division, because it was just a downward spiral for all of them. Nothing was happening. He had the belt. He had his goons. They were doing that whole heel thing, always wins, and they were just pushing away from what made 205 special, which is the wrestling, the athleticism. And now you have a champ who can't do any of that stuff. He's just athletic and gifted on the mic, but he couldn't perform. And it was sad to watch 205's opener of all these guys flipping and flopping and doing all these different holds, and seeing that the champ has the belt and he can't do any of that shit. And seeing everybody just resorted to just being part of his crew or against the crew, but it just didn't feel right. So this was a real blessing of this whole tournament, letting everybody shine, do what they do best, their move sets, just to perform on that level again. And it's great to see, and to see this match. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. Alexander is a great wrestler. I don't know if you remember, you guys watched the Cruiserweight Classic, right? Well, the when they did the Cruiserweight thing, you remember that?
Yeah.
I remember the Cruiserweight Classic from before. Yeah, I saw that.
Do you remember when Alexander had his match? He lost, but the fans were chanting "sign him," and they were like, "He has to stay," and they kept, "Please sign him," and they were doing the whole thing to a point that Alexander started crying when he was up the ramp, and then Triple H came out, put his arm around him, and then gave the fans a thumbs up. Like, that's the first time I've ever seen fans just come out and say, "No, we want him. This guy needs a contract."
Yeah, that was great.
You know what I mean? And for something like that to happen, I mean, that's like, people keep saying like, oh, if you want to make it, you got to impress the big guys in the back and doing the whole thing. Cedric, there's no way he would have ever really impressed Vince just because of his physique. He's a little guy. But when you hear the crowd chanting, I've never heard of anybody where they were like, yeah, sign him. We want him. Give him a contract. I mean, that was amazing. It was amazing. And then he wasn't ready for it, and he started getting all emotional and stuff. And then for Triple H to come out, acknowledge it, give a thumbs up, don't worry, we got him, he's good. So he deserves it. Mustafa Ali's another one. Awesome. Think about what's his name? Mustafa Ali, right? That's the gimmick name that he's going with. That's not his real name. But the whole thing is that he is Muslim. He had his family there. Some of them were wearing burqas and stuff and doing nothing, but they're not going with the stereotype. He's a guy from Chicago. Yeah, he's Muslim descent, whole thing, whatever, but he's not going with what they always do or what we're seeing on the main stage, with the steroid user on SmackDown. Shit, what's his name? We always goof on him.
Jinder.
Yeah. He's not doing all of that. He's just this crazy, athletic guy from Chicago. And I love it. I love the fact that it's him, and he's telling his story. Hey, I'm just like you. I got my wife, I got my kid. I'm from here, this and that, and it's perfect. And he has a great story with that. And he's breaking a lot of barriers when it comes to how WWE portray people of ethnicity, especially of Muslim descent. So I'm proud of him making it this far, and he deserves it. I mean, if you haven't seen any of his matches, I recommend everybody go and watch the matches he's been having. He's the one that does the inverted 360 or not even, is it 360 or 540? But he does it from the top rope. It's awesome. He does a lot of crazy moves. If you look him up online, he does a lot of crazy moves. But yeah, he's definitely, and he could take amazing bumps. This is gonna be a top-notch match. This is definitely, it could steal the show, whatever it's a pre-show or not, but I think people are going to talk about it. But it doesn't matter because everyone's going to start talking about TakeOver, and TakeOver is going to be better than WrestleMania. So we know that. But just for this 205, that's going to be great. That match is going to be great, and regardless of who wins, it's going to be a great outcome for everyone. And then plus there's a new belt. They have that new belt that they're introducing, so the new tag belt. So that should be cool.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, Dana. Any thoughts on mixed match challenge or 205 live?
So fun. I'm still hating everyone who doesn't watch it.
Is that mixed match challenge the final going to be at Mania?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
They wouldn't even. Where would they even fit that on the card? They can't.
On the third pre-show, right? Doesn't it start like 10 in the morning? It's called Mysterio Special.
They can't do that.
But they announced a pre-show to the pre-show. The thing starts at 3 p.m. So you make your giggles, but it's real. The show was great. Obviously, Charlotte Flair was unable to compete because she had an injury and she had to go and get, a little surgery for her little injury. And it was a fan poll, basically asking people, who do you want to see? And it was between Carmella and Becky Lynch and Lana. The fans went and, they voted for, I forgot who they voted for. I forgot. They didn't do it yet.
Becky Lynch.
No, it's Becky.
Yeah. Sorry, it was Becky. Mm-hmm. So again, it was a really great show. It was a fun little match. And you guys really should watch it. So it was Bobby Roode and Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks and Finn Balor. And it was really nice. And they have great chemistry. This is the one time when you get to see wrestlers just relax and wrestle and have fun and interact with the crowd. And, they started taunting each other. And, they started, ripping off each other's moves. But it was just very nice. And watch it, guys.
I only have one thing to say. I wonder when they have that poll for the Mixed Match Challenge, if there was an option on there that says, do you want this show to be over? And I will say yes. Absolutely.
Wait, how do you want a show to be over that you haven't even watched? Okay, Roode and Flair, they won. Okay, even though Charlotte wasn't there because of Becky Lynch, They won, so Charlotte is going to be in next week's final. I don't understand what the hatred. You haven't even watched it. How are you hating something you haven't watched?
Well, I would like to offer a correction. I was there for the Braun Strowman, Alexa Bliss back and forth, teasing type of stuff. I was there for the Naomi and, of course, her husband, all the stuff they did. So I have been watching, but at some point, you get tired of it. You just want the tournament to be over because this has been lasting for almost like
you're just unable to have your attention for 10 minutes. It's you.
Oh no, I'm tired. I'm tired of it. That's it. And obviously Adam and Ricky would agree because they also are tired of it. However, I have actually invested the time and watched this stuff before. They just said to hell with it. So you can't say I haven't been watching. I have been watching, and now I'm tired of it.
Yeah, no, I just don't see no interest in it. There's no interest in it. It's a gimmick. It's just one long gimmick tournament. And I just don't. This mixed match challenge. It's like who cares? And then it's everyone's breaking character and storylines and stuff, and then they act like it really exist in the universe. So then why should I care?
Yeah.
If you're making it seem like it's an afterthought, then it is an afterthought.
It is not an afterthought. This is for charity, and this is fun.
There you go. Charity events are side stories, and that's completely separate, and it's optional to watch. And I choose the option to not watch. Think about it. We've seen this in golf. We see this in basketball when they do these charity events. How many people tune in to watch that?
Plenty.
Nobody watches. People will donate. They'll go to a website. They'll click donate my $1 from PayPal, and then they move on. No one's gonna watch it because it's not worth it. It doesn't represent anything. It's like when you see football players go against basketball players. Playing hockey. It was like what? That's a mess. I don't want to see that.
Live you tell because everyone watches the NBA All-Star Weekend.
That's all stars.
There's all
stars playing. Did you hear yourself? That's the best of the best playing each other. This is on that level.
This is a house show. A house show match, which no, it doesn't count. Doesn't matter. It's all silliness. That is why, and it's promoted by Facebook. This is why I don't give a flying. You know what? Challenge. I never will, no matter how much you try to sell me on it. In fact, the more you try to sell me on it, the worse it gets. Don't even bother.
There's plenty of other great wrestling going on that I could watch. When that's happening, I can just block out and just go watch Ring of Honor or something else.
You guys have hate. You have hate.
I don't have hate. I just have no care for it. There's no hate. I don't hate any of the competitors. I just
raising money for children. You hate raising money for children, and you should be a star.
Do you hear yourself? Raising money. WWE got plenty of money. They could write each one of those foundations a check and not put us through this.
I'm pretty sure they will do that anyway. They will still send the money.
Yeah, I bet you they're gonna say we're all winners here, and everyone gets a participation trophy, and then they move on. So it's pointless.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be a colossal waste of time, basically.
Yeah, and then I heard a lot of people saying that it's already rigged because of the whole Connor's cure. They're like, that's been their program forever. And how are you going to have that get beat? You can't.
You know
they were.
You watch. Boom.
See? There you go. And then it works. So then there you go. It's not rigged. It just sucks. It's there you go.
Well, hey, listen. All I'm going to say is I did watch some of the matches.
Thank you.
It wasn't like I didn't watch anything, but that's why I feel as though I'm entitled to have an opinion and say, okay, all right, I think I'm done. I think I've seen enough. So we'll see how it wins. I'm glad WWE is doing stuff for the kids, whatever. But there's a lot of other stuff that we should be watching. And after you sit and you watch hours and hours of wrestling, I think you should be allowed to not watch an additional match if you don't want to. Yeah. So I believe that's
out of mind. Yep. Let's move on.
Oh yeah, so I believe that's it for Mixed Match Challenge. I want to get to this, which would be the final question of the night. Obviously, once again, theme WrestleMania. We already touched on a couple of things regarding the build up to WrestleMania, so on and so forth. So I have to ask this question. I think I know what Ricky's answer is going to be since he sort of answered this already. Which match currently on the WrestleMania card do you think is going to steal the show? So, Ricky, do you want to go first? And because I mean, you already mentioned that you believe that Charlotte and Asuka should be a big match. Now, does that mean that you think it's going to be the match that ultimately surprises everybody and steals the show, or do you think something else is going to replace that?
I mean, well, so here's the thing: is that for something to steal the show, it has to kind of be unexpected, and I think that I'm excited about. You know, you mentioned Charlotte versus Asuka. I'm excited about that match. I'm also very excited about AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura. It's hard to say that either match will steal the show because there's already big expectation for them. I mean, maybe I don't know so much about the Charlotte Asuka one. I'm personally very excited about that, just because I think there's so much at stake there. If you're talking about steal the show as far as a dark horse of like, you know, people didn't expect it to be as great as it ended up being. I don't know. Maybe the tag match between the Usos, New Day, and Bludgeon Brothers. That could be pretty darn exciting, especially if the rumored stipulation for that match ends up being true. It's just a rumor I heard about before that it might be a TLC match. This was something that was, I guess, supposed to have been leaked. Not supposed to have been leaked. That was leaked and by WWE and then rescinded. If they make that a TLC match, that definitely adds an extra element of danger to it. That could steal the show. I felt like last year's a ladder match for the tag belts, that the Hardys one, was pretty damn good and pretty exciting. So I think that's a dark horse to steal the show. You know, we already know what the Usos and the New Day can do together. Then you add the Bludgeon Brothers to it. You know, it has potential to be a very memorable match. I'll tell you which one will not steal the show, and that's Brock Lesnar against Roman Reigns.
I have a comment.
It may was it not steal the show, but it may steal the run for the exits. That's the way I see it.
Okay, I have a comment to make regarding that. It's going to be a rather controversial comment. I actually think that match, something major is going to happen in that match. You know, I know they have this whole thing where Reigns is going to win, obviously, but all that I've been hearing about when they signed Bobby Lashley is that he wants to fight Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's contract is supposed to end, right? Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to be over right after WrestleMania because he has no other dates. However, there's a lot of wrestlers in the past that have had contracts that will end and then they get signed like at the very last second, re-signed. Maybe if it's for like a couple more dates, maybe it's for like an additional date. If Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley is going to happen, I would think Bobby Lashley would have to show up either in that match or the night afterwards. But if I had to make a guess, you know, my whole thing is that Vince knows that people have seen Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar multiple times. You have to make that match interesting one way or another. Now, the desperation they had of this whole situation where they're talking about, well, Brock Lesnar never shows up. And if you saw Raw, you saw Roman Reigns get his ass whooped 2 weeks in a row by Brock Lesnar. Mm-hmm. So I have to believe that something major has to happen in that match for people to actually care about it, because they don't want everybody just straight up booing both guys while they're watching the match. So I think something will happen in that match.
Oh, that's the thing. This is that Mania. Mania has been getting very vocal over the years, and they are going to boo, and we're going to expect to hear a lot of crazy chants. A lot of crazy chants toward both competitors.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not going to be a good outcome. Keep going. I'll tell you what I'll tell you my plans when we get to me, but keep going.
Okay.
I was going to say that we saw WrestleMania 32 end in boos. We saw WrestleMania 33 end in boos. I think we're going to see WrestleMania 34 end in boos. I'm already prepared for it. But please, please throw an audible. Please throw an audible, and please have Dean Ambrose cost Roman Reigns the match. Please give me that. Have him hit Roman Reigns with the chair. It would give people would mark the hell out for it. Myself, I would jump out of my seat if some guy in the hood comes out outside the ring and just bashes Roman Reigns with the chair and takes the hood out and it's Dean Ambrose. I will lose my freaking mind. Well, it's not going to happen, but my God.
I got one better. I got one better because what you said with Bobby Lashley. Roman Reigns going to win. The boos are going to come through the roof. Everybody's going to be booing. Bobby Lashley comes out, just beats the crap out of him. And then he lifts the belt up. Everybody cheers. Everyone's happy.
That's for Raw. That's for Raw the next night.
Oh, next night they have to go and hype it up and then do the interview. Why'd you do that? What's going on? Are you here? What happened? They have to give a happy ending. You just said it yourself. At the end of every WrestleMania, people boo. They're going to boo. So if you want them to cheer, then you have to give them some. If they're going to do Ambrose, he's hurt. That would be nice, but he's still hurt. But Bobby is juiced up. He's big. He's good to go. You know,
so think is Bobby Lashley a big enough name?
I think, damn, he was with them. Remember, he was a top guy, and then he walked out.
Yeah, so that was ECW. The ECW.
And no, it was there. It was in WCW and WWE. Remember, he was having those cage matches. And then he left. Then he became a big name, not just in wrestling when he was in Impact, but when in MMA. He still has a great record in MMA. So I think he is a big enough name. If he comes out and people, even his physique, just think about it. Even if you don't
he's a big name, not for WrestleMania though. I think for Raw, I can give that. I don't think closing out WrestleMania, you'll get Michael Cole. Oh my. This is Bobby Lashley.
But that's the thing. Even if he's not, remember, Vince, that's still his show. He's a big dude. He's massive. So if he even comes out, just this physique, people are going to be like, oh my God, look at this monster. You know what I mean? And if he manhandles Roman Reigns, then it's just like Brock, out of sight, out of mind. Disappear, fade to black. There we go. Now we got a whole new feud going on, and there's a big guy who's pissed off, and then he can use the whole story of why he left, right? And that he went to MMA to dominate over there before Brock, you know, and that he went to another promotion and he dominated around the world, this and that, and won titles, which he did, you know what I mean? And so then now he heard all this talk about this Roman Reigns guy. He's nobody, and who's got the better spear? Because Bobby Lashley's finisher is a spear also. So he can go in, and there you go. They can play it off, and he was better on the mic now because he's been, you know, doing this for years now. So he got a promo.
I hear you on that. It's hard for me to grasp that. I think it's just, I don't think Lashley is that big of a draw. I think it's a thing with WrestleMania. Typically, you have decisive finishes or controversial finishes.
Mm-hmm. But you have to look at the audience. We know the audience that are going to WrestleMania. They've seen it now. These are hardcore wrestling fans. They know what's happening. They know the other promotions. They are alert. So if you want to throw a surprise, who you gonna? You get Drew McIntyre can come out, probably get that type of reaction. Right, that would work. They can't do EC3 because we already know where he is. Can't do Ricochet.
Not for Mania though. This is the thing. So this is the mistake that you're making is that yes, there's definitely a smarky crowd for that weekend, but I feel like it's more concentrated when you talk about the Raw after WrestleMania. That's why you see a lot of the big debuts or returns happen at the Raw after, and I don't think. You know, we didn't get Brock Lesnar returning until the night after WrestleMania, when he very much could have came at that one in Miami. They saved that for after. And Lesnar was a bigger name than Bobby Lashley. I just don't.
But they couldn't get him. That's the thing. They couldn't. I think it's all about looking for a distraction. We just said about there's a good chance Brock is not coming back. Right. This is it. Last match he's done. So you need a distraction. This will be a distraction, something to throw your mind off of it. And while, you know, Roman's getting his ass kicked, Paul Heyman and Brock, they're not even in ringside. They're gone. They went up the ramp. They're out. This is just like, hey, tunnel vision. Look at what's happening. Look at the big man in the ring. Look at the big man in the ring. Look what he's doing to Roman. You hate Roman, right? Keep watching. Keep watching. Put the doggy collar on.
Here's what they got to do. If they want a happy ending to WrestleMania, they can't have that main event to show. That's what it is. You're going to have Roman Reigns win the belt. Let him win the belt, but don't have it be the last match. Put AJ Nakamura at the end. I mean, they're probably not going to do it because there's no title on the line. Actually, no, there is a title line. What the?
There is a title. I was going to say, I was like, what are you talking about?
I apologize for that. I apologize.
Like,
and I said
that lose the belt.
I said that earlier. That there was no title. I'm completely wrong. I apologize for that. There's absolutely a title for the real only belt, as I've said, the WWE title. They should have that close out the show. They guarantee that people go home happy because people love both of them. You know, no matter who wins that, everyone wins. That's the way I see it. Yeah. And then you can have Lashley the next night.
Yeah, in my mind, I picture the whole Bret Hart versus British Bulldog.
SummerSlam.
That was an amazing match. Didn't matter who won. Everybody was happy. Everybody cheered. They're like, oh, it's a win-win. That was a great match. We knew they were, related because of marriage and all thing. So, Bulldog married to Bret Hart's one of his sisters. So. That was a great match, and that's what I picture from that event. That the Shinsuke versus AJ. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those because they're going to show mutual respect before and after. I don't think they're going to go cheesy with it. But yeah, that would be great if they put that as the main. But we doubt it because right now I didn't think that one was going to be. I thought maybe that the Ronda was going to be the last match.
Oh no way! No. No, they'll feature that one high, but I don't see that the Ronda match closing out the show. No way, especially when you consider that Ronda's technically the only full-time wrestler in that match, and this is her first match.
That's sad. That's how sad that is. Oh.
Yeah. I just don't see it. Like, no, it would be cool, and it'd be a bold move, but it'd be cool. Close it out with Charlotte Asuka. I'm just telling you, man. Like. That match should be a bigger deal than it is, but they're not going to do it. They just don't have the balls to do that. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
That's good. Well, one thing I will say real quick, and then we'll get Dana's thoughts. I very much like your suggestion about Dean Ambrose because. I like how they emphasize that, the one time that Reigns almost beat Brock, Seth cost him the match. So to now do Ambrose, the one that would cost him the match, that'd be pretty great. But obviously, probably not going to happen. But yeah, that's a nice little Easter egg. I throw that in there also since Easter's coming up. Okay, Dana. So. Which match do you think has the potential to steal the show at WrestleMania 34?
Asuka and Charlotte, because one, these is something that, we both know that they can wrestle and they can be very entertaining. So I think that, and it's something that people want to see for a while. And even if Asuka does end up winning, I don't think it matters. You just want to see a really great match between two great people. And I would say AJ and Shinsuke, but the fact is that AJ's injured. So he's not going to be, you're not getting Japanese when they was over in New Japan. You're not getting that match. So you're going to get some watered down version of it, which, will probably end up being like a Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair type thing. So that doesn't make me that excited to see, even though it's lovely to have them paired up again. But I'm saying Asuka and Charlotte. And also, I love how no one seems to mention about any of the battle royals. We already know that the women's battle royal is going to suck because it sucked with the other one. And they don't know what to do with themselves. But maybe during the whole 30-man battle royal, we're going to get some interesting surprises. Maybe that's where Bobby Lashley makes his debut re-debut.
Thanks for reminding me, because what I was upset about, and I brought this up earlier, is that Matt Hardy's in that. I was like, why? I mean, he just did the whole deletion with Bray, but Bray's about to get a new gimmick. So is that going to pop up in that 30-man? I hope not, because it needs to be put on stage somehow.
Bray will be there. I think Bray will be there.
You guys keep also forgetting Monday Night Raw. That's when all the appearances seem to be made. that's when they make these huge announcements. That's when people lose their mind. That to me is always the best show out of the year. Screw WrestleMania. It's the WrestleMania after, it's the Raw after WrestleMania. So that's where I want to see like the whole Bray Wyatt repackaging. I think that's
Woken Wyatt.
So here's the thing.
That's what I think it's gonna be. Yeah.
I agree with that, but I really don't think they value Bray Wyatt or look at him as anything. So I think they will save the bigger. I don't know, if you have a chance to announce Bobby Lashley on Monday Night Raw over Bray Wyatt, I think 9 times out of 10 Vince is going to say, well, yeah, we need to talk about Bobby Lashley. To hell with Bray Wyatt. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I do think Bray Wyatt is going to make his return sooner rather than later.
Up that family. I still don't understand why they did that. The Bludgeon Brothers, come on now. They should have just stayed with the Wyatt family. That's it. Just keep it going. I don't get it.
They don't understand why we were separated. They gave an interview, I think, with Taz, and they was like, we don't know why. There was no reasoning. They was just given notice that you guys are now separate entity, and you go off and be the Bludgeon Brothers, and he did not know.
Yeah.
And also, don't forget, we also have the pre-show. So a lot of these people and a lot of these matches could just be shipped off over there, which, will probably just lessen the excitement for as well.
Yeah, so, that's true. That's a very good point about the Battle Royal. And I do believe that you may potentially see perhaps 1 or 2 NXT stars show up in that Battle Royal as well, because, they got to keep the surprises coming, right?
Are you talking about the men's Battle Royal or the uterus trophy Battle Royal?
Oh, whoa. Wait a second now. Whoa, hold on a second.
What?
Yeah.
You've seen the new trophy for the women's Battle Royal, right? It's shaped like a uterus.
What?
Well, here's the thing. They've already had Ember Moon in the women's Royal Rumble, so I don't know. Maybe they may do that again. Maybe they will bring up someone else for that particular match. So yeah, it's possible. I was mentioning in particular the men's because I think you definitely will see some surprises in that. But we'll see.
There should be some call-ups from NXT. There's plenty of people there now that need to be moved up.
Oh yeah. Well, I know Ember Moon definitely will get moved up after she loses that title belt at Takeover next weekend.
Yeah,
but we'll definitely address that next week.
Yeah. Next
week. But no, Adam. So you need to tell us your which match you think is going to steal the show.
Oh, man, that's tough. I mean, I want to say the main event is going to steal the show. If it's Roman Reigns and Brock, I think they need to go all out. I think there will be interference. They may throw in. This is just in my mind. I feel they're going to throw all kinds of weird stipulations. Oh, there's a no holds barred, or do something, just to make it more interesting. Just because they know the fans are just going to boo the shit out of both of them. They know that Brock's leaving, and they know that Roman is the chosen one to get the belt. So there's no surprise here. So I'm assuming they're going to go all out and try to throw in some more monkey wrenches just to entice people. Because if not, that's going to suck. That's the only one. Because the Shinsuke AJ, that on paper looks like it's going to steal the show. But with the injury, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to go as hard as they want to go. At least not for AJ. So it sucks. It sucks that, it's part of life. Injuries happen. But hell, we still got Samoa Joe lingering around there. Maybe he gets involved in that main event. I know they said that the plan is when he comes back, they want to give him that big push, put him at the top spot again. So there you go. Have him do something. Maybe we can have multiple interferences. They've done that before too. At the main event, multiple people come down and they're different. Some go to help one guy, some go to help the other guy, and then the ref is kicking everybody out, and then somebody comes from under the ring. They can do all kinds of stuff. But I hope that's what we get. I hope they really set it up, because if it's just a one-on-one, I mean, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. So
here's Michael Cole, the Michael Cole voice, which is really the Vince McMahon voice. And Roman Reigns has waited 3 years to get his hands on Brock Lesnar. 3 years to finally beat the Beast. That's what they're gonna play as this whole thing, is that this is gonna go back to WrestleMania 31, and Roman Reigns will finally get his long-awaited win against Brock Lesnar that no one really gives a flying shit about. But it's a thing of, like, if you're expecting anything less than Vince McMahon forcing the Roman Reigns agenda to close out the biggest show, you're going to be disappointed. That's all I'm going to say. Just expect the boos to rain down to close out the show with Roman Reigns holding up the title. Just expect it. And if you get anything else, it's a bonus. It's gravy. But I just say just get ready for it.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm already prepping up for it, man.
Well, maybe they do it on purpose so that way people can leave early and get to the parking lot and do the whole thing.
Drive home safely.
Look what we gave you. Go home.
There's really conditions for the fans with that match. Even just to say Brock does win, the fans don't want that, and the fans don't want Roman to win. There's no way.
I'm telling you, Roman Reigns Triple H 2 years ago. It would have been
like, oh wow, then hey, let's go back. Let's go way back. Let's do a Yokozuna Bret Hart Hulk Hogan swerve. Let's do that. Let's have it where Brock wins, he has the belt, have somebody come down, have Bobby Lashley come down, or maybe he's already in the front row, and he's watching the match, and then Brock is celebrating the whole thing. He just won, and then you see Bobby Lashley stand up and he's clapping, right? And he grabs the mic. He's like, "Oh, you think? Well, you're trying to talk? You think you're better than me? You think you can expect? Yo, man, I'm in top 4. Get in the ring. Ring the bell." And then Bobby gets in there and then just kicks his ass and wins the belt. What? That would be the finish of the year, because people are like, oh, that'll never happen. But that happened at that WrestleMania with Bret Hart, Yokozuna, and Hulk Hogan. Because remember, Yokozuna beat Bret Hart. Yokozuna was celebrating. Hogan came down to help Bret Hart. And then Yokozuna, as manager, was talking all that smack. And he says, you know what? We could kick your ass right now. Ring the bell. We're going to have a match. Hogan looked surprised, but said, okay. Went in the ring, did his, few clotheslines, got him down, did a leg drop, and won the match. And got the belt.
Dude, that'll be interesting.
Or Cena does not get Undertaker, but instead he challenges the winner of this match.
Oh, that
wins the belt, breaks the record, closes out Mania.
Nope.
Don't rule it out.
That'll be great.
Oh, so if we're going into super curveballs, here's my thing. Somebody takes, I said it before, somebody takes the Money in the Bank off of Carmella and down to the ring and cashes that in, and the ref looks confused, but hey, there's a contract in there, right? And it's a Money in the Bank. So they say, ring the bell, they let it go. Whoever brings it down gets to cash it in, and then that person wins the belt.
Yeah, that definitely is not going to happen.
Carmella, WrestleMania.
Carmella will cash in that belt at WrestleMania weekend, whether it's WrestleMania or SmackDown, and she will lose as soon as she cashes it in.
WrestleMania, where you can't let a woman do a man's job.
Yeah, we can't do that.
That's the lesson when you with that kind of thing.
Carmella
say what?
And it becomes a triple threat. Say
what? What's that? Triple threat?
Triple threat with Carmella.
No, they're not going to pull Seth Rollins on that. No.
I see it. I do not trust WWE with a roach.
That would anger any fan that was looking forward to Asuka versus Charlotte in a singles match.
Yeah. Fans. So do you think they care?
Well, that's a match that now they have gotten behind as, oh yeah, this is a huge match. So they better not sway from anything other than that.
No, that'll be the whole show of the night.
Hey, well, I don't know. I doubt that. Carmella could come out there and try to cash in afterward, but it will be unsuccessful. I know that much. That is a guarantee. Because they no way they're gonna have her beat Charlotte or Asuka.
She could end up the streak. Remember, you had Lesnar, and he was a part-timer.
Oh no!
You're really gonna compare Lesnar and Carmella?
Oh man!
Okay.
No, boy, Dana.
First,
the Mixed Max Challenge, all that hype for the Mixed Max Challenge. Now you're talking this stuff. What is going on with you? What is going on?
Jeff Jarrett being a viable Hall of Famer, Mixed Match Challenge being worth the view, Carmella being worth the match of Charlotte Asuka.
I'm about to reclaim your wrestling card because you're slipping right now. Dana is slipping. You need to take a long nap or something.
Taking the hottest of hot takes. My God.
Oh, man.
I do not put it past WWE. They have screwed up so many years, and we have gotten dog poop. So I don't put it past them this year. And remember, we have Jeff Jarrett. You guys mentioned he could be in the Royal Rumble.
What is happening here? It's like the Twilight Zone.
I don't know, man. Hey, listen, he'll come down to the Royal Rumble, be drunk, get in the ring. Oh no, they can't be doing that.
Flair done it.
I could see it too. Oh my God. That's funny.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll have stories for us, Ricky, when you go to your hotel or whatever, in the bar. If you see Jeff Jarrett in the bar, that this isn't going to end well. He'll be down there with RVD and a whole bunch of other people.
Tommy Dreamer, yeah.
Yep.
And who else was there?
See, and there's another one because RVD, they wouldn't let him wrestle because of the concussion that he had not too long ago. So
he's not concussed. He's always high.
What?
What did you say?
He's
got cut up.
High. I said he's always high.
Oh yeah.
There's lots of people out there that are always.
Oh yeah, he's totally fine. Yeah, he's totally fine. And hey,
they got Jeff Hardy, so they're not questioning shit anymore.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, I think that concludes our show for this evening. As I mentioned already earlier, Ricky, you will not be here next week. You will be going to WrestleMania, so you'll have to let us know how that experience was in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I may not be able to make the show. Obviously, Friday I'll be flying in.
Yeah.
Next Friday I'll be flying in and all that. Maybe I can try to drop by during the show through my phone and just kind of let you guys know how it's going.
WrestleCon? Are you going to do the WrestleCon?
No, it's so Friday. Sorry, Friday night I fly in. I'm gonna try to go to the Superstore and and get some stuff there because Saturday is when everything gets cleared out. Like at least some of the shirts and all that everyone comes for the Saturday and all that. So I want to kind of beat the rush for that. Saturday. I'm just going to hang out with my friends during the day, and at night I'm going to be going to TakeOver. And then Sunday, going to WrestleMania, and since, that starts early, you got to get there early for that. So that's going to be my whole day. Monday will be Monday Night Raw. I'm not sure what I'm going to do during the day. And then Tuesday, I'm skipping SmackDown. I don't care. And I'll just be spending time with my friends and then coming back home Wednesday. So it's going to be 3 shows for me as opposed to the 5 straight that I did last year. That was way too many.
That's crazy.
But I'll see if I can give my predictions to Rich ahead of time, and when you guys are doing the show next week, doing the predictions, he can just share them with you guys or something if I get around to it.
That'll work.
It sounds good. Yeah. So, and just as Ricky said, we will be having predictions next week for NXT Takeover as well as WrestleMania. You was gonna say something, Adam?
Yeah, Ricky. If you see Sabu, please take a picture with him. or just set up on your phone and do like a Skype call for me, so that way I could like bow down and have a tear come down, because that's my all-time favorite wrestler. You know, people say I brought this up too. If I ever win the lotto, I'm paying all his medical bills, and I'm fixing him up. I'm giving him whatever implants, transplants, anything he needs, and I'm gonna juice him up to the gills, and I'm throwing him in WWE because I'll buy WWE. I'll rebrand it and I'll make him the forever champ. The Universal.
He doesn't want to see Daniel Bryan wrestle ever again, but Sabu, who probably has 100 concussions.
It don't matter. There's no proof. You know what? The guy never passed out in the ring. That's all I'm saying. Never passed out in the ring. I broke his jaw. I had all kinds of broke his neck. Keeps going. He's got it. He's the man. Sabu for life.
Absolutely. Okay. So final shout outs that you would like to give. You have any final shout outs, Adam?
Oh, shout out to you guys. Shout out to the people watching and listening, and everybody over at the Koalition. Shout out to the people over at the Throwdown podcast right now, playing Burnout, boosting, getting all the rest of the trophies that they need in multiplayer. And and shout out to everybody here and to Ricky. And enjoy your trip. Have a safe flight.
Yeah.
Don't drink too much. Don't go down dark alleys. Watch out for the hauntings. Don't hang out at cemeteries. And don't play with voodoo dolls. You know, you are
Can't
going to
make any promises with any of those, but I'll do my best.
There you go. Do your best. Yeah. There you go. Don't get any weird tattoos. You're gonna regret later. But like, oh damn, look at this Dean Ambrose thing I got on my tricep here. Look at it. Don't do that.
No Roman Reigns tattoo. Yeah.
Because people think, I'm sure there's somebody living there like, what the fuck? He's a rambling shit. No, at WrestleCon, they had a tattoo artist last year, and they were doing people getting wrestling tattoos. So, there you go.
All right, Dana, any shout outs from you?
Shout outs to everyone who's listening, who talks in the chat, who listens later on iTunes and other streaming services. Shout out to them. Shout out to Ricky as well, who's going to WrestleMania. Bring me back some pictures. I want to see tons of pictures. And the voodoo and what goes down in New Orleans. And bring me back some crawfish. I've never had some, so that.
You never had crawfish?
And also, she meant to say she definitely wants to see you take a picture with Jeff Jarrett. So that is
there you go.
Jeff Jarrett, I love Mixed Match Challenge sign. So thank you.
I have a request for a picture with Sabu, a request for a picture with Jeff Jarrett. If I see a Mixed Match Challenge shirt, I will at least take a picture of it. Maybe even wearing it just for shits and giggles.
Oh, you'll see it. It'll only be in the dollar bin. I mean, like, who wants this Mixed Match Challenge? And we have every size.
Man, you guys suck.
Uh oh.
You just suck. You're so mean.
We're just pointing out the facts.
That's okay. It's all jokes. Okay, I like to well, go ahead, Ricky, for your shout outs.
You can go ahead.
Okay, I want to also give a shout out to everybody on this cast, Adam, Dana, Ricky as well. And I also have a request, Ricky. If you do happen to see Finn Balor when you are at WrestleMania, you need to tell him that he needs to leave Raw immediately and go to SmackDown. That's my request.
I thought you wanted me to just too sweet him and just tell him.
Oh no, he's been horrible on Raw since he came back from injury. Tell him to get his ass off that show and get over to SmackDown immediately. Yeah.
Man, worst case scenario, they dump his ass in 205. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
I would start watching if they did that.
Yeah, I
they better not do that because he deserved more than that, I would think. But hey, I don't know what Triple H's vision is for 205. We'll have to wait and see what that's all about.
It was much better.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, Ricky, how about your shout outs?
All right, well, shout out to all you guys here in the podcast. It's always a blast. I know you guys are going to have a very fun, entertaining show next week. A shout out to all you viewers and listeners to the podcast. Keep supporting it. Keep supporting the Koalition. Definitely check out the show next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to get about maybe 6 hours of predictions because there's a lot to unwrap. That's how we roll here. And I want to make a quick mention that Strong Style Evolved New Japan Pro Wrestling happened. I believe it was this past weekend. If you haven't watched it, I would give a high recommendation for you to check it out. A lot of entertaining matches, particularly the main event. Definitely worth the view. I won't mention any spoilers, but check it out. And what else? Shout out to Snickers. I keep saying this. Thank you, Snickers, for saving us from the Moolah Battle Royal. I'm definitely looking forward to WrestleMania weekend. I will share as much of it as I can with you guys. And I hope that I can go to WrestleMania with you all next year when they invades New Jersey.
I'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
I will be there 100%. Yeah. I guarantee that now. Yes, I will be there 100%.
Yay!
Yeah. So that is our show for this evening. Thank you all for the continued support, and we will talk to you all next week.
Laters.